If you want to stop me, you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Coming to you live from the luscious loins of LaPel, Indiana. It's bullshit for our 87th midweek crisis today. We have none other than podcast hero, at least hero to me, and should be your hero, MP Cavalier in the house with special guest, guest host, Bronson Swanson, motherfucking Jonathan. So, for all you Top Liver followers, you know, for the last week, we've been pushing this. We asked a week ago for people to send in videos of how MP Cavalier inspired them to be an artist. And you're laughing, but man, if it wasn't for MP, Top Liver podcasting wouldn't even be a thing. So we got thousands of people that sent in videos, and Jerry Blank from she's actually a high schooler, Flat Point High School. She sent in the winner, and we're going to go ahead and show the video. Now, just a little bit to know about Jerry. She is a self-acclaimed user, boozer, and a loser. Thank you, Jerry, for sending it in. Check this video out, guys.
Skunk weed.
Want to hit?
I'm not.
Are you sure?
Okay. Let's quit.
Close your eyes, Jerry.
What do you see?
So you use crack, or you're thinking about trying it. Crack. So if you're thinking about using crack.
Do it! Just do it!
Nothing unusual.
Get help now.
So, MP Cavalier, welcome to the 87th edition of Chop Liver's Midweek Crisis. What's up, brother?
I'm already overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah.
I'm already completely overwhelmed. I have no idea what I just saw, but it doesn't matter.
That was one of our longtime viewers, Jerry Blank from Flat Point, Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah. She's a stranger with candy. It's a long story.
Strangers with Candy.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember that show. It's tucked in a part of my consciousness that I don't really access anymore. I remember that show.
Oh yeah. And of course, Bronson Swanson Johnson up in this motherfucker. So I was
intense. I'm trying to recover from that.
Yeah. I'm gonna show it again later so people can really soak it in. But I was telling Bronson before the show that I've been on this kick of making like crazy, like wild videos.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is, like, so obviously we did not do a video thing. We didn't ask anybody to send in video
Because nobody would have responded. Nobody remembers.
I was just like, dude, this will be a fun way to like kind of show the video and make it seem like it actually has purpose, but they never do.
Yeah.
They never
Yeah.
do. So
And you didn't tell me that you were doing that prior to us going on, which is absolutely the right thing to do.
hell yeah, like,
Because I'm sitting here going, ain't nobody on the planet sending in a video about me. So I'm really excited to see what's about to happen. So
hell yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that completely ersatz tribute. I appreciate it.
I've been just making these crazy videos, man. And I was like, dude, that's a great way to set this one up. So
How do you not just spend all day in this space creating stuff? Are you like, if I were you, I would never leave this space and I would just create all day,
I wish
all day
man.
long.
I gotta
Because
pay the
my
bills,
studio,
though.
cause my studio space is also my home office. So I have to work my day job there.
Oh shit.
Right. So like at the end of the day, like the last thing I want to do is, I'm going to spend 3 or 4 more hours down here, working on music or doing stuff, that's not work. It's like, no, I just want to get out of there because it's my office too,
I'm honestly never in here.
Really?
Yeah. Outside of the hours in which I'm producing or working.
I would never leave this.
I come down here and like make stuff, create stuff here and there. But for the most part, I work out in here.
Mhm.
Yeah. I usually have my, that's about it.
Yeah.
A workout.
I would probably hang out in here all the time. I don't know. The Randy banner it really makes it cozy for me.
Mhm.
That's the centerpiece, man.
I would
make
have
sure it's in
me-
every shot.
I love it.
Try
I love it
to.
so much. That album is part of the reason why I have to play everything a little bit faster.
The Blizzard of
Either a
album.
little bit faster or a lot of bit faster.
The Blizzard album.
The tribute to Randy Rhoads.
Oh,
album.
the tribute. Okay.
Yep. The very beginning of the album, first song, I don't know. It gets counted off a certain tempo, and Randy comes in like way faster.
Sure he does.
Like way faster. And I can feel the look that Tony gives Randy, like, you motherfucker. Really? Wow. I set the tempo here. Me, not you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it.
So
I have the Dale chair right there.
So how was the daytime commute? Was it a rough drive up here?
For me to get here?
Yeah.
No,
Not bad.
not at all.
I always ask because sometimes
No, man. My pilot landed the helicopter right on your front lawn, and
Hell yeah.
he'll be back to pick me up in a couple hours.
next time, dude, that plot of land across there, I actually bought that for helicopter landing.
You should
Yeah.
probably mark it.
Yeah.
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 Like a
Sorry about your lawn, by the way. Just send the bill to 45.
45.
They pay for
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah. By the way, I went ahead and put the link out there for
I
those
appreciate
that
that.
was watching. It's how do you say it? 45?
Yeah.
45
Yeah.
creations.com
Yeah.
/ let's play 10. So these days, MP does a podcast called Let's Play 10.
I do.
And you can find that on Spotify, iTunes.
On my chest.
Yeah, it's like right here tattooed. Right there. Yeah, I'm really excited to have you on because
Thank you, man.
like we were talking, we had you on the podcast back when it was the live party radio hour, but because of technical difficulties, it did not actually make it out. So
It's lost to the ages.
yeah, lost to the ages, but here we are today. And so real quick before
It
I
must have
forget-
been a great show and a great night because I have a pretty good memory about stuff. I don't remember a fucking thing.
hell yeah.
So it must have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I honestly forget about a lot of shows, but now that I'm not drinking, I have a feeling down the road I probably will remember these.
It's all going to come back.
Yeah.
Oh, the bad ones are the ones that are going to come back. Like you wake up like with night terrors. Like, oh my God, that was the worst fucking show I've ever done in my life.
Well, the cool part is, dude, if I ever want to relive my nightmares, you could find every Chop Liver podcast unedited on our YouTube channel, and
Yep.
that's at We Are Chop Liver. If you want to relive those nightmares, but before I forget, so every show for the guests, I give out a VHS, the gift of VHS.
Okay.
So, and I went ahead and grabbed you one too, Bronson.
Oh, thank
Show you
you.
how much I love you.
I love you
So,
too.
I hope I'm in the right field, maybe left field, but let's see. So I
It doesn't
grabbed
matter.
the City Slickers fucking VHS.
Wow.
Both VHS copies of City Slickers and City Slickers 2. I know you're from New York. I just don't know which side of New York.
Show me the money. No, that's not it. I'm sorry.
This is heavy.
It's
Okay.
come and get me. That's what it is when they're talking about the gold.
Nice. Ooh,
Come and
nice.
get me. Come and get me. Show me the money. What's that?
Look what I
That's,
got.
Tom Cruise.
Look what I got, kids. See, I keep telling you guys, this is how you get free stuff.
And Bronson,
This is
I got the Star Wars trilogy.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
With custom, check this out. I'm pretty sure. Is this the one with the custom? No, these are unsigned. Holy shit. Hell yeah, man.
You should sign them for
That's
me.
No, I mean, like, because I get these from Goodwill.
Hang on. Don't throw that.
So-
It's sacred.
Okay.
I will
question.
readjust.
Question. How many Chop Liver Midweek Crisis episodes do I have to do in order to get the VHS player?
Oh shit.
Like, is it like a ticket
That's
punch?
a good idea. We should do 10.
Like you do like 10 shows,
Yeah.
and you get a VHS player at the
Yeah.
at the 11th show or
Yeah.
at the 10th show.
10, yeah, your 10 guess. Yeah, it'll be
It's like you could have a VHS player or the sandwich.
Well,
Right.
Hey, this tells you how long it's been since these have been a thing. It was called a VCR, though. Remember?
They were called
We
VCRs.
went from VCRs to DVD players.
Right.
And I caught myself. That's so weird you said that, man, because I said that the other day and I was like, VHS player.
I said VHS player. I'm like 1,000 years old. Like,
Hey, me too, though.
I-
I'm just like, I caught myself the other day at work. Me and
Right.
buddy talking about that. And I was like, a VHS player. It took me forever, man.
right.
And then
Right.
finally, I'm like, shit, it was called a VCR.
VCR.
It was called a VCR
Video
for all of you
cassette
youngins.
recorder. Yeah. Video
Us
cassette
ancients.
recorder. Yeah.
That's right.
Wait, what does it stand for? Video
cassette recorder.
Yeah, dude.
Man.
VHS
Right.
was just VHS was the standard, was the format. Yeah,
Dude,
weird.
I wish we could just put all this out on VHS. Wouldn't it be neat? You could like buy every. Oh my god.
That's why not though. First of all,
because they would be 2 tapes.
hang on a second. You totally explore this because bands are starting to put out cassettes again. Like
Yeah.
bands are starting to release compact cassettes again.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if you like put together like a compilation, like 2-hour Chop Liver Midweek, like highlights of the year, VHS, I'll be first in line.
I would
Man.
buy one of those.
I would
could-
totally buy one of those.
I could
I'm gonna have to buy
I
a
could
VCR now for these.
easily hook up my computer. I already have my computer hooked to the TV.
Mhm.
I'll just go grab one of my VCRs, right? And just
You just got a bunch of them out back. do
I've
you?
got like no, I have
Oh, you have one,
3
like, hooked up?
VHS
Yeah,
players,
okay.
and then I have 2 TVs with VHS players in them. But I could actually hook the VCR
So
up,
funny.
and then I have blank tapes. But how am I going to produce the covers? You know,
Does that TV behind you over there have the
Wait, that's your
VCR in
big
it?
that's your biggest challenge? How are you going to produce the art?
no, I
Really?
got the art. How am I going to make the fucking the tape covers though?
You know what you could do is, so you know, like the cardboard, like the heavy cardboard gift boxes that you buy at like the dollar store or whatever.
Yeah,
You know, like at Christmas, the last minute, it's like, oh, I bought Uncle Bing Bong a shirt, and I don't want to just wrap it up in wrapping paper. So you run to the Dollar General and you get a gift box. Well, you can cut those down.
Yeah.
Definitely
DIY, baby.
to
Yeah.
this size. DIY.
hell yeah.
You know, to make it extra punk rock, you could take cases from other ones and then chop those up and then just Frankenstein them together.
yeah.
Cut them
Or-
all up the same way and use the pieces different, like a puzzle.
Or
Yeah.
or you can just take one of these, slit it open at where they glue it closed,
yeah,
turn it inside out,
and then reglue.
and then
there you
reglue.
go.
Hell yeah.
Right?
So
and
it's
then
like
you can make it a
chopped liver-
game. Which movie did you get on the inside?
Right, so it's like Chop Liver on the outside, but City Slickers on the inside.
Ah,
Make it like a golden ticket scenario. Whoever gets a certain like list of movies
yeah.
Right.
gets a spot on the
Yeah,
podcast.
whoever gets Buckaroo Banzai gets a tour of the
Yeah.
studio.
Right?
I mean, man, it's a lot. I mean, I don't try not to overthink it, but we do have the 100th episode coming up.
I think we should just start working on this shit right now.
right now,
Yeah,
live on the podcast.
go get the crayons and the
I got-
markers.
I'm
Yeah.
down with it.
I got the glue.
I got the
so-
markers.
Yeah,
Down
let's do
with
it, man. Let's do it. Hey, before I forget to ask, Craig Bell was here recently,
That's
right?
right,
How
yeah.
is he?
He's doing good, man.
I haven't seen him in almost as long as I haven't seen you. He's
Yeah.
good though, right?
Yeah, he's out playing, and man, it was really awesome to sit down with him and get to know him better.
He's such a good dude. He's a great dude. He was one of the first people that I ever met on this scene in indie. I
He's-
still have the framed poster from the they did a benefit concert at the Mel like in 2013 for Norton Records. Norton Records warehouse in New York got flooded in Hurricane, I don't know,
Something.
Thelma, whatever the fuck her name was. And they did a Reverend Dan, the guy who used to be in the Deason guy. You guys remember Deason?
Yeah.
That's like ancient history. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I was like,
Rev.
let me
Nope.
tell you guys
I
a
know,
little
Rev.
story
I know,
about.
Yeah, I'm with you, homie. I'm
Yeah.
right there with you.
So
Yeah.
they had this big benefit show to raise money to help the Norton Records people out. And, you know, Craig and Sam and Kelsey and, you know, Deason was going to play, and Cheetah Chrome played, and they did a whole set of Rocket from the
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I wish I had my notes out.
Rocket from the
Rocket
Tombs.
from the Tombs. Yeah.
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 So they did a set of that stuff, and they did like my favorite Rocket from the Tomb song, Amphetamine. I was like, oh my God, I'm in heaven. And
Hell
I
yeah.
got to host the show.
No,
And
nice.
and
That's
I
awesome.
got Cheetah Chrome to sign my poster. So I
That's
still have
awesome.
that. But yeah, that was like Deason was like really like the first, maybe second band that I even got to know like personally. Like when I first came on into the whole do it indie weirdness that was going on at the time. And I had no idea what was going to happen. They were just like, hey, you like music? You want to come hang out with this local punk band? I'm like, sure. I don't know anybody here. I'll go to a strange house and into a weird basement and hang out with people I don't know.
I love to do music. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I like
I'll
music.
fucking be there.
I like music. Yeah, you got any Survivor? You got the Rocky theme?
Right.
You know.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it was really cool having him on and getting to know his background. And we played some of his new music that he's writing. So yeah.
Yeah, his whole like backgrounds, his pedigree is like unbelievable. Like not just the stuff that he did in Cleveland, but then when he relocated to Connecticut and did Simply Saucer, or the Saucer, I think was the name of the band, and they were really, really good. Yeah, it's like every project he ever got involved in just like was really cool. You know, the music was really cool and it was diverse. X_X was really cool too. And I mean that guy's toured. I mean, he's hung out with royalty. I mean, he hung out with the guys that ended up in fucking Perry Ubu and the Dead Boys. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know,
I had no idea until the podcast that he had played at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or Museum or whatever it's called. Yeah, I was like, Jesus, man.
yeah,
I had no idea.
he's played with legendary people, which,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, makes him a legend.
Yeah.
I mean, if
and
you're
he- and
playing with
he's-
legendary people,
yeah,
then,
you're
I mean,
a legend, and he's a
you
great
have to be
dude.
at least this legendary
Yeah.
to legendary,
Yeah.
right?
And I mean, most importantly, the guy's a fucking amazing bass player.
Absolutely.
He's a great bass player.
Yeah, it's fair to say he is a pioneer
Yeah.
of punk.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I gotta get in touch with him, man.
Hell yeah. making
I've been such a
connections.
hermit for the last like 3-4 years. Whenever the thing started, I've been such a hermit.
Dude, yeah, get him on. You should have him come on your podcast too, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This is my reintroduction into the scene. I'm going to start showing up at every punk rock night now and
Hell yeah.
being the same pain in the ass that I used to be back then and shit.
Hell yeah.
Busting everybody's shot. Hey, want to come on my show? Want to come on my show? Want to come on my show?
Man, it feels like
Be that
that's-
guy.
I feel like that guy sometimes. I try not to be over the top, but
I don't know, man. I think we need to bring back a little bit more of like flyering like the old days and like
oh yeah.
going to places with a stack of shit and being
Mhm.
like, yo, there's another thing going on this other day. You know,
There
what I
was a
mean? Like,
moment, right?
it was a
There
moment.
was a moment.
It was
like
a moment.
between like I mean, I didn't come into the whole thing until like late 2013, but like by the time I got there, like it felt like there was like something was like starting to happen. Like it's like, oh, this isn't like a local music scene anymore. Like something cool is happening,
Mhm.
you know. And there was like a whole bunch of things. You know, there was a good punk scene. There was a good alt indie rock scene. There was a good singer songwriter scene.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to get the words out. It's and it was happening. I mean, it was really, really cool. And then I don't know what happened. The wave broke and
Pandemic, maybe.
the pandemic.
I honestly think
Yeah.
the biggest factor is the non-smoking clause. That was such a huge. I saw it with my own eyes, you know, because I was going to shows all the time, and it was like overnight, just the bars just cleared out. The
did
pandemic.
put a dampening on
I
it.
don't think I ever smoked inside of a venue the whole time the whole time I've been here. I think that by the time I started
was-
actually hanging out in places, I think that ban was already in effect.
Was that like 2012 when that happened? Something like
Man,
that.
somewhere around there. Yeah.
I remember Shane's Into the World party in the 2012, his 2012 Into the World party. We were still smoking in the bar.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was actually the last night that we were allowed to smoke in there. I could be wrong about that. That was fucking 12 years ago. Wow.
Yeah.
Good God.
So how did you wind up in Indy?
I turned left at Ohio.
You turned left at Ohio.
Yeah.
How did I end up in Indy? So I'll tell you the Reader's Digest version of the story. So I'm not from here. I've been here for 20 years, but I'm not from here. So I lived in Brooklyn, New York. I lived in New York City my whole life.
Mhm.
And I met a really nice girl from here who said, she said all the right things to me and everything was awesome. And then she was like, I think I want to get out of here. I'll come visit you in New York and hang out with you for the summer. And that summer turned into 27 years.
Aw.
And so she
Aw,
moved to New
boy.
York that summer. She finished her year of school and she moved. Sorry about the hands. I'm not used to being on camera. She moved to New York and she's such a badass. This girl she's from Anderson, Indiana, right? Came to New York City. A friend of mine who worked in the theater on Broadway, got her a job at the theater. She didn't want to just hang out. I still had to go to work every day. And she's like, I don't want to hang out at your apartment all day. I want something, I want to get a job. So a friend of mine got her a job. Second day that she's in New York City, this girl's 20 years old. Second day she's in New York City, gets on the train, goes to Midtown Manhattan, goes to her job. Like she's been doing it her whole life.
Hell
Damn.
yeah.
Right.
Boss.
So,
Boss status.
and then eventually, she rose up the ranks at that theater, but then skip ahead to 2001, some really fucked up shit happened in September. And I had been living in New York for 35 years at that point. And the World Trade Center was like kind of the last straw for me. Like, I was like, that was literally the point where I said, okay, you know how like most New Yorkers like died in the wool, like New Yorkers like me. It was like, there's nothing that you can show me that I either haven't seen or that's going to shock me, right? Because I've seen everything. And when 9/11 happened, I said, okay, now I've seen everything.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that I hadn't seen. And I was like, I think I'm done. I think I might be done here.
Yeah. Think
You
I'm
know?
out.
Because like growing up there, it's like there's no rule. Like there's no rules. I mean, once you figure out how to navigate New York City, like not as a tourist, I mean as a person who lives there, like once you get into your teenage years and you figure out how to work the subways and where the cool record stores are and the cool bookstores are and the clubs that'll let you in even though you're only 16. Once you like figure all that out, it's amazing. You can go anywhere and do anything. Right. And all you need is subway fare and a couple of bucks in your pocket. But then all of a sudden that freedom wasn't there anymore. I mean, I'm walking into the building that I've worked at since I was 16 years old. I worked at, where the NBC building is, 30 Rock. I
Mhm.
worked next door. I worked at 50 Rock.
Oh,
and
nice.
I worked there from the time I was 16 till the time I left New York. And I grew up in that building. I know every nook and cranny of that building. I know where everything. I know where all the machine guns are buried. I know everything. And I walk in there one day and they're like, we got to check your bag. And I went, check my bag. I said, I've been working in this building since I was 16 years old. Oh, we got to start checking everybody's bag because of 9/11. And I said, I don't know if I'm feeling this shit anymore. This is just getting weird. So me and my wife just decided we don't want to live like that. And we also wanted to start a family. And we were doing okay, but we couldn't afford a house, All of our friends were like, all my friends from high school, like, oh, move out to the suburbs. I'm like, move out to the suburbs. I can't even afford the fucking property taxes out there. you know? So we started thinking about, well, what can we do, you know? And some friends of ours from here said, actually, the job market here is pretty good. So this is like the end of 2002. Our friends in Indiana were saying the job market's really good right now. Houses are really available and they're really cheap. You guys could live like kings here. So that was it. I quit my job. After 20 years, I gave him 2 weeks notice. I was like, fuck you. I've had it with this place. And yeah, that's how we ended up here. We moved up to Anderson. We lived in her parents' house for about 3 months. We found a house in Irvington. And that's where we started our family. That's how I ended up. And then, sorry, that was a long way around.
No,
I said I was going to give you the bullet points, and I gave you like the
good,
unabridged
though.
Bible. Sorry about that shit.
Hey,
No.
no.
It's awesome.
I get a little
Right.
long-winded.
I mean, so
I was into it.
From there to Irvington, what how did you get into the porn industry? I'm sorry.
So
Porn industry. I meant
check my contract. We're not supposed to be talking about
man.
that part of my life.
Oh, jeez.
Violated.
I'm not ashamed of that part of my life, but I'm not allowed to talk about that part
I
of my
meant
life. It's
podcast.
a court order. Podcast. I could see how you'd mix those two things up. Yeah. I love that guy.
I'll be here all night.
Try the veal.
So yeah,
one just literally walked through the room.
So what's the road to podcasting from moving here into Indy?
The road to podcasting is all I ever wanted to do in my life, even more than I wanted to be a musician, was to do radio. That's what I studied in school. That's all I thought about from the time I was probably 5 years old. I used to make like DJ tapes on a cassette, an old Ampex cassette recorder that my dad had. And he would let me play with it. And I would, like, when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, I would put Beatle records on, and I would do like DJ air checks after each side. I would let the side play through because it's fucking Beatles, man. You can't talk between songs.
Yeah.
So I'd put on like, you know, the Help soundtrack. And at the end of the last song, I would announce each song, and I would do like these fake commercials for like whatever was around the house. Like, hey, now let's do commercials for Del Monte green beans. Yeah, because there was a can of Del Monte green beans on the fucking kitchen counter. You know, I do shit like that. And that's all I ever really wanted to do. So when I got a little old enough to make my own decisions, much to my parents' dismay, I went for a broadcasting degree. And I did college radio at that school. They had a really sophisticated college radio station, like really, really, it was a very, very sophisticated setup for that. We're talking about the mid 80s, like 84 to 86. And they had a production studio. They had like a separate production studio. It was all mod cons. It was really, really nice. And I got to do radio. I got to do FM radio. Like, we had a transmitter, and it's like, oh my God, like I could like say all the stupid shit that's in my head.
That's cool.
And people are going to hear it. And then my faculty advisor said, no, you fucking can't, because we are formatted. We are not a free form college radio station. This ain't college radio. This is FM professional radio. We're training you to be a professional broadcaster. So you're going to be a professional broadcaster. So everything was timed. The music sucked. It was mid 80s. It was dance music. It was like dance, like pop music. So I had to play like, you know, Centipede by
Dance with Somebody, Whitney
fucking Rebby Jackson, and you know, whatever, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Oh Sheila by Ready for the World, you know, songs like that. But I was doing radio, and I really, really loved it. And then I went on to get my bachelor's degree. And I think I timed it actually. It was 8 seconds after I graduated college. My degree was completely obsolete because everything that they taught me was not even being used in the industry. It was all junk in the industry now. Like, I couldn't walk into a radio station and say, oh, I went to these 2 colleges and I did college radio and I trained on this kind of equipment. And this is my skill set, because everybody said those skill sets don't even exist anymore. We don't even do those things anymore, like cutting tape. Like I knew how to edit reel to reel tape, and I knew how to I knew how to record carts and do all that kind of stuff. And it's like, we don't do that anymore. So I was fucked. So I had to go get like a real job out of college that had nothing to do with broadcasting, nothing to do with communications, and it sucked. and I did it for a long time. But that was always in the back of my head. It's like, one of these days I'll figure out a way to do this, do what I really want to do. But right now, I got to make a living, and I got to move out of my parents' house, and I got to get married and have kids and buy a house and do all that stuff that you're supposed to do, you know? So when all that stuff happened, we're talking about more than 20 years later, I'm living in Indianapolis with my wife and my son, my baby, and we have a house. I'm like, okay, I checked all the boxes. Now what do I do? I'm bored. You know, my wife was like, you need to fucking find something to do because you're driving me crazy.
Right?
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
Getting on my nerves.
what do I do? Like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know anybody. So I was like, okay, I'll join a band. I'm a bass player. You know, I'm a guitar player. I can write songs. I'll join a band. That didn't pan out at all. It just didn't. I just couldn't find like people that I could like communicate with, like on the level of people that I used to be able to communicate with. Everything was changed. I was a lot older, and the way that I processed music in my head was totally different. And if this is getting like too zen,
No, not
stop
at
me.
all. Not at all.
So I didn't do that. And this is the story. This is how it happened. You know the Irvington Halloween Parade?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the greatest non sequitur in history. So the Irvington Halloween Parade. So we lived in Irvington. So we went to the parade every year. We went to the festival every year. And I'm walking the parade route with my son, my little son. I think he was probably 3 maybe at the time. I don't know. Maybe older, in his little costume. And I'm walking down the street. And we passed by. They used to have a raised wooden platform set up for the judges, the announcers. You know, they would actually have an announcer on a microphone saying, "Oh, here comes another Batman," and here comes Beetlejuice, stuff like that, just to keep things moving along. Well, that year, I'm walking down the street, and the guy who's making the announcements stops announcing, jumps off the platform, and lands right in front of me, like a superhero, lands in front of me and says, "You're a music guy, right?" And it's the guy turned out to be my wife's cousin, was emceeing the parade that year.
Nice.
And he says, "You're a music guy, right?" And I went, I'm refocusing. I'm like, "Oh, it's my wife's cousin." I said, "Well, yeah." He said, "I need a guy to write about music for my website. You know that thing?" He's like, "You know about that thing I do?" He's like one of these guys. He talks very, very fast, which was great to me because I come from a place where everybody talks really, really fast,
yeah.
right? And he's talking like a mile a minute. And I absorbed about every 8th word. And I said, is it a paying job?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Oh, well, in that case, I'll take it. Because if I get paid, that means I got to do what somebody tells me to do. But if I'm not getting paid, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want." So that appealed to me immediately. It's like, you want me to write about music, no rules, and no one's going to edit me? He's like, "Nope. To do whatever you want." I'm like, okay.
Deal.
So what the thing was him and his friend, Scott Tolan, had put together this thing that they called Do It Indie. And Do It Indie was basically this thing where they were trying to promote local Indianapolis events that were outside of the normal things that were being promoted at the time. So Indianapolis at that time is now finally kind of out of its nap town phase. We're not sleepy town, nap town anymore. Things are actually happening in Indianapolis, right? Art started to happen and music started to happen. And there were more live shows going on. Fountain Square was now a thing.
Yeah.
Right. When we first moved here to Indianapolis, there was nothing in Fountain Square. Nothing except for Radio was the only thing that was there.
Radio, and hard drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Right.
Yeah.
And, the houses were really cheap because, you never know when it's going to catch on fire. But anyway, things were happening. And the Do It Indie thing, they were trying to promote kind of lesser events, and not events that were less important, but events that the news and it wasn't covering.
Yeah.
So stuff you'd find like in the obscure parts of Nouveau is the kind of stuff that they would talk about.
Yeah.
And somehow these two guys, Scott and Ben, talked their way into a Saturday morning spot on Fox 59 News. I promise the story has an ending. They talked their way into a Saturday morning spot. Every Saturday morning, they would go on Fox 59's morning show and do the Do It Indie top 3. And they would promote their top 3 events for the week. And it was weird stuff. And I was like, well, that's cool that it's not just, it's the race and it's basketball.
Yeah.
And it's, ride a paddle boat down the canal. They were doing like kind of outsider weird stuff. And I was like, that's pretty cool because they didn't seem like outsider weird guys to me. They seemed like, just regular dudes, but they were finding this cool stuff to do. So they brought me on to be their music editor, which meant that I just wrote a bunch of articles about whatever music I wanted to write about.
Yeah.
So, and they would get me into shows for free. So I would go to a show and I would write a review. And if I got lucky, I'd be able to interview the artist and they would publish it on their website, right? The Do It Indie website.
Yeah.
And then it turned into a video thing. We started doing like video interviews with some of the artists. And I got to interview Aaron McCune and I got to interview Sammy the Great. And there's a couple of others. The big one for me, the big one was Michael Ackerfeld from Opeth. I went on I went on Opeth's tour bus for what was supposed to be a 5-minute interview. He hung out with us for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You know who shot the video for that?
Awesome.
This will blow your mind. I hope you remember this. The guy who shot the video for the Ackerfeld interview was the guitar player from Goliathon.
Oh, no shit.
Derek, I think his name was Derek Kendall.
Right on.
He was the rhythm guitar player for Goliathon. It was one of my favorite bands, and I needed a video guy. I'm like, what are you doing on whatever night it was?
Yeah.
So we got to do stuff like that, and it was like fun, I was having like a good time. I was like, okay, well, this is kind of music journalism. It's kind of cool. But then I started to feel like I was getting tied down by the concept of writing and doing the videos because I was only able to promote one band at a time. And I started thinking, I wish there was a way that I could promote like 10 or 15 or even 20 bands at a time. But I didn't know how to do that. So one thing led to another. And the guy who founded Do It Indie had to relocate to another state and left Scott Tolan with the reins of Do It Indie. And Scott was like, you want to this is a lot. Like running the website and doing the Fox 59 stuff and doing the top 5 videos. Is there something else that we could do? So I pitched him this idea of what I just told you. It's like, I'm getting a little bit, I don't know. I'm feeling very weighted down by the writing. I love writing. I really do. It's one of my favorite things to do. I don't feel like I'm doing enough. And he pitched me the idea of a radio show. He said, what if we did a radio show? We could do the Do It Indie top 5 stuff in the show, and we could play music from local bands. I'm sorry, folks. I keep sticking my hand in your face. And we can play. I'm a Jew from New York. I talk with my hands. Yeah. So, he came up with this idea, and we kind of whiteboarded it out. We talked about what kind of music we can play, what could we get away with, how we were going to do it, like the logistics of it. We didn't know anything about how to do internet radio. We knew nothing, right?
Yeah.
But we met a guy who knew how to do it, and we did it. And then that guy turned out to be a major catastrophe, and we found someone who knew how to do it better. And then that was it. That was the Do It Indie Radio Hour. We did 160 shows in 4 years. Every one of them was a major pain in the ass. I sweated out every single week, even the 158th show at 160. It was still like, oh my God, how am I going to get through this next night? It's just like, God, just if you're there, it's me, MP, just get me through the next 3 hours. Just get me through the load in and the setup and the miking the band and get me through the broadcast. Because we did the show like you guys do now. We did the show live every week with a different band playing. So we had to, like, every week a different band came in with we had no backline, with different gear onto a bare stage, and we would have to figure out, okay, so let's see, they got 1, 2, 3, 4
soundboard
amps.
alone.
I know, right?
They had
That's
a 16. Yeah, they had a
That's
16
awesome,
channel. Luckily, they had a 16 channel Yamaha board at the venue. This was the mighty
House.
Grove House. Oh my God, I miss my. That was like Grove House. Like if a building could be your girlfriend, Grove House was my girlfriend. I loved that place. I loved that place. Like oh my God, every minute I remember every moment I spent in that building. And they had a great 16 channel analog board. And so we were able to we could have 10, 12 mics on the stage. and you do a sound check and then you hope for the best because it's a live show and you don't really know what's going to happen. And we were blessed. We were really super lucky. We never had any major catastrophes. We never had to stop the show because something went weird or something broke or somebody's mic went out. And we were really, really lucky. Like somebody was watching over us for all those shows that we never had a major technical catastrophe. The only time we ever had a really, really, really bad technical problem was it was a software issue with our server, which was like, I don't know, 160 miles from here, like north of here. It was in some weird town where our server was managed, and there was just a glitch with the software. So it sounded like for like an hour. It sounded like that for an hour. But we knew because we were listening to the live feed. So we knew, and we just went with it. We just started like Tolan just started like telling me to go fuck myself. And, there was nothing we can do. It's live. We couldn't stop. So that was the only time. So yeah, the show was amazing. And I think in the last 6 months that we did the radio hour, we did it as a podcast. So it was always a live stream. Every week it was a live stream. And then there was some licensing and financial issues about doing the live stream that became a little bit prohibitive. And because we didn't make any money, we didn't sell advertising, we didn't have a grant, there was no incoming cash. All the money was going out the door.
Doing it for the cause.
Yeah. I mean, we had never set out to make it a money-making thing or a revenue stream. We all had jobs. We were all good. This is just something that we did for fun. This was we used to tell our friend, this is our poker night.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's what it was. But our poker night was we got to listen to a live band and we got to shoot the shit for a couple hours and we got to play local music and it was fun. And we got to do it in this amazing converted church that sounded great too. But things started to get weird. Licensing rates changed. And to keep doing the live stream, it was going to cost us a lot of money.
Yeah.
And none of us, I mean, not to mention the fact we didn't have that kind of money. We were like, fuck that. We can't do that. That doesn't make sense. Also, our wives will murder our balls while we sleep.
Murder them.
But we found a loophole. We found a way around it. And that was podcasting. So we converted the show to a podcast. So we recorded the show just like we always did, as it was a live thing that was happening. Right. But I went home, MP3'd it, and we put it out there as a podcast. And we did that for about 5 months. And it went really, really, really well until one night I called Scott at about 1 o'clock in the morning, or I might have texted him at about 1 o'clock in the morning. And I said, I think I'm done here. And he was like, okay, man, I'm with you. And that was it. We did one more show. We had a show scheduled for that Monday. And we did that show. We didn't tell anybody. And that was it. We stopped. Mission accomplished. So, I mean, there was a lot of, yeah, we did it. There was a lot of like personal things that led to me not wanting to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily I had a broadcast partner who was very understanding of those things. Yeah, I just couldn't do it anymore. It was like consuming my life. Like it was like my whole life was the radio show.
Yeah.
And what started out as a 10-hour a week hobby was turning into like a 40-hour a week unpaid full-time job.
Yeah.
Booking it was just becoming a lot.
Yeah.
And it was hard on my marriage. It was hard on my job. I was starting to fall off at my day job, which actually paid for the house. And it was hard on my kids. So yeah, I just had to stop. And that was my personal thing. But there was other stuff going on in the music scene in this town at that time that I didn't like.
Yeah. Was it censorship?
No, there was hubris. People were starting to get a little bit full of themselves.
Yeah.
And people were spending a lot more time. People were spending a lot less time writing good songs and learning how to be in a band and learning how to play than they should have. And they were spending a lot of time on other things. And I didn't like it. And with every subsequent week, and I'm like getting like freaked out right now because I'm like, I hope like if somebody hears this and it's like, hey, I was on their show around that time. What is he saying about me? But I don't really care anymore. Come and find me. We'll talk. But
hey, man, it's called accountability.
Yeah,
have some.
I think that's the exact thing, man. That's the exact thing. It's like there was less and less and less accountability for shitty music because everybody got caught up in this weird imaginary wave. Because
Rockstar thing.
for a while, we were talking about this before we went on tonight. For a while, there was a wave. Like a lot of people, I don't know if you guys felt it, but I certainly felt it, that something is about to happen here.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are a couple of bands that could actually get out of here.
Mhm.
And if 2 or 3 bands from this town get out of here, then a lot of bands are going to get out of here
Exactly.
because that's how it works, right?
And that's
Yep.
that's the push. That's
Right.
what keeps you
and
know.
that's what people like you and me and you and all the punk rock night guys and all the people who were doing shows at the Fountain Square Brewery and all the
Stranger
clubs,
attractions.
everybody trying to make that happen. And just, pushing the bands to work harder and pushing ourselves to be better promoters of local music and, whatever we could do. And I just started to sense a certain amount of laziness and a certain amount of, I don't know. Yeah, unaccountability. I think I'm going to stick with what you said. That's good. And I didn't like it and I didn't want to be part of it. And, like I said, there was a lot of other things going on and I needed to get my life back together. So I stopped. But that's the story of the Do It Indie Radio Hour, which was maybe I should have said that. Maybe I should have said this part first. So the Do It Indie Radio Hour is a live 2-hour internet stream that ran on,
Yeah.
it was just it's a stream that we did every week for 4 years a long time ago, and we had a great time doing it. And we had hundreds of bands on the show, and we always played exclusively local or regional music. Always new local or regional music. We always tried every week to play new songs and push new bands. And if the band couldn't play, then come on anyway. Stop by Grove House and sit down with us for 10 minutes and tell us about your upcoming gig and tell us about your new album. You don't have to play if you don't feel comfortable, or
Right.
if you can't, or if your drummer is taking a test and he can't make it on a Monday night. Just come down and hang out with us for 10 minutes and shoot the shit with us on the air. We'll have a great time. And that's what we did. And it
It's
was
all about getting
it
the
was
word out.
fucking glorious. It was glorious. And we never gave a shit about us. Like the show was never about us. And anytime somebody tried to make it about me and Scott, we were like, look, we just work here. We are literally janitors on this music scene. Go see that guy there, the guy holding the guitar. That's who you want to go talk to. And that was like the whole premise of the show. And it was great. We had a great time. And then, we started our own station, our own internet station, and we brought the original Chop Liver guys on, and you guys caused us so much agita and so much, you know what agita is? It's heartburn.
Yeah.
You guys caused us so much controversy, and every month I got another angry text message from somebody about something that you guys said on your show or something that you did.
I'm sorry, Greg.
And I would always
Ruh-roh.
give him the same answer. I would always say, what do you want me to do about it? They're adults.
Yeah.
What do you want me to do? I can't fire them because they don't work for me.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of this whole thing. Nobody's getting paid. Nothing's written down on paper.
Yeah.
There's no contracts. I was like, my solution is don't listen to their show anymore. That's my solution.
Yeah.
Or
I'd be
here's
like,
a
well,
better
you
idea.
should tune in every single time just to make sure they don't
Right.
say anything else that makes you mad.
I told one
You
I told one person that if what they say makes you so angry, here's an idea. Start your own show. I will air your show right after their show. And you can
Bam.
air a rebuttal to everything that the Chop Liver guys say that pisses you off every week. I have tons of airtime. I got
man.
hundreds of hours.
I had no idea that was happening.
Oh, would never tell you guys about that shit because we didn't want you to worry about it, and we didn't care. That was the thing. We didn't give a shit, right?
Right?
We
Yeah.
didn't care.
Don't
and we didn't,
censor this. You're
and we
missing the
didn't-
point.
we didn't want you guys, and not that you would have changed anything about the way that you did your show.
Oh
But
man.
we just didn't want to be those guys. We didn't want to be those guys. And then we brought the Don't Panic guys on. Don't Panic is another podcast
Oh,
that's
yeah.
still going, actually. I was just on it a couple of weeks ago.
It's awesome.
And we brought them on, and I would listen to their show and listen to your show, and I'm like, nothing I hear on Chop Liver is offensive compared to what the Don't Panic guys are saying, because those guys had zero filter. And they didn't talk about local punk music. They talked about politics and bringing up kids and it's like socioculture, cultural issues. And those guys have no filter at all. And they said whatever came into their heads, and it was amazing. And then we had to go on after them. You guys had the easiest slot. You came on after the least offensive people in Indianapolis, MP and Scott. Right? We were always so careful not to piss anybody off. And then these guys came on after us, and it's like, oh my God! Like I would listen to their show. I would listen to their show on the way home. Yeah, I'd listen to your stream on the way home, and because you would tape your show and send us the tape, and send us the file, and then we would but you would air after us, and I would listen to you on my way home from Grove House, and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm going to get an email from insert pissed off Indianapolis punk musician here. I'm going to get an email tomorrow. Man. But it was great. It was great. And we really, it was so much fun to just have that little broadcast family of people.
Yeah. It was awesome.
It was really good. And then when we didn't have content on, we just played, we had a gigantic collection of local music of all genres, local, regional punk, anything that that was out there, we just took.
Yeah.
We downloaded it from MFT or got it from somewhere or got it from Bandcamp, and we just loaded up a server and we had music playing all the time.
I'm telling you, dude, I had like one of those acid moments, like I'd pop my back, and while you were talking about RFI, and I just went down this path of like getting all the songs off of the computer onto the fucking mixer. And then like setting up the mics.
Preloading the song.
I
remember that life. Making the lists and
and actually like I have somewhere in this notebook, I have a list of like some of the songs. I still have some of the show lists, and
for as chaotic as it was, there was quite a bit of structure to it, really.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We had to
I don't know if you can see this, but this is a the list of
scribblings of a madman.
Basic layout 6741 by 4768 by half page 16.85 whatever. Review, third rail, album review, great tear. This is the layout of the first zine that we made.
Nobody knows what any of that means, but shit.
Yeah. And I was like, holy shit. Well, let me flip the page.
Are you talking about the first chopped liver zine?
Yeah, like baby.
That you used to do that in Microsoft.
I still have all those somewhere.
Did you used to do that in Microsoft Paint?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was amazing.
I love today.
Fucking school,
I love today.
I used
old
to go
school.
I used to pick up the new issue. They used to leave them at the Mel, right next to like the ATM machine or something.
Yeah.
Fuck,
right?
I probably left a whole bunch of them.
I used to get one, and I would immediately post on Facebook. Say, I just got my new issue of Chopped Liver.
Hell yeah!
Dean, you got to go get yourself one. Yeah, that was great, man.
I would love to.
I did a review in one of them. I did an ASD review in one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had never. That's the only time I've ever reviewed a band or album or anything like that. I don't know. I mean, I've given my own personal reviews, but as far as like
having it out there,
put like what you do a review. For this zine, you know what I mean? I'm like,
there's something. It's different.
Give it to me.
It's different than just telling people what you think.
Yeah.
Like in a room of people that you know and you trust. Maybe some people you don't know that well, but you don't care. But when you like write something and you publish that, that's out there. Especially now, that's out there forever.
Right?
Like all the shit I wrote for Do It Indie, the blogs, all the reviews, it's out there.
Yeah.
And I know, I was always relatively complimentary. If I didn't like something, I just didn't bother talking about it,
Yeah.
But it's out there. It's different when it's out there,
Man, yeah, you got to remember, like once you hit publish, and
you can't get it back.
You can take it down at wherever you want, but it's still
somebody
there.
screen capped that bitch somewhere.
Immediately. The Internet Archive.
Immediately.
The Internet Archive knows all.
Yeah. I want to say I want to give you like a PTSD moment. But I can't technically do it because I don't have the music. I kind of wish. Hold on. Actually, let's do it real quick. Check this out.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me turn on my Bluetooth. This is gonna sound like shit to everybody else. I don't give a shit. Fuck them.
Are you playing the song?
You guys will love it.
Are you playing the song that I think you're playing?
Hold on.
That's what I was trying to Beavis and Butthead there a minute ago.
Yeah, let's do it real quick.
Oh man, I'm down. Hit me with that nostalgia. I'm a millennial, bro. I will literally take all the nostalgia you'll give me. Okay. I am.
Are you connected? Where are you connecting?
uh,
Oh, dude, I crack my shit up, dude.
hey, Beavis. He's gonna get nostalgic for you.
Here we go.
Yeah,
All right, ready?
He might.
Here we go. Let's
this
do
is
it.
gonna
Let's
be
do it.
cool.
Oh, see, it's not gonna do it. It's too loud. It is too. Coming to you live from the hold on, is it the Gutters
From Horde Church.
Oh yeah,
Horde Church.
coming to you live from Horde Church and Shipwreck Chef, hanging out always with Bronson, Swanson, motherfucking Johnson. Yeah, dude, fuck it. All right, we did the thing.
Oh.
We did the thing.
That was amazing. That was amazing. I can't. I'm trying to
PTSD.
remember. We had,
Love
what
it.
was our theme song? Oh, it
I'm
was
high now.
the first theme song was "The Right Bastard Shuffle" by Delzell. Remember Delzell?
Oh, I
Yeah,
love Delzell. I
absolutely.
still
The
listen to
Dye
Delzell.
Brothers.
Yeah, the
I
Dice
still
Brothers.
listen to
Yeah,
Delzell, dude.
Yeah,
for real.
So Alex, the
Mhm.
guitar player, Alex was like the first person in the scene to like befriend me. Like
Aw.
That's cool.
He's
like,
a nice guy.
somehow
though,
we
man.
connected
He's a
through
nice
Facebook
guy.
or something like that, and like we started like putting out feelers to different people. Hey, we're doing this radio show and we don't know anybody, but we saw that you're local and you have music, and would we be able to like play your music on our show? And Alex reached back out to me and said, let's get together for coffee. And like I was like, okay, people do that. Sure, let's
Like,
meet
oh
for
shit, the first normal person in Indiana.
So we met, we literally met for a coffee, and he started telling me, he said, talk to this guy, talk to this guy, talk to this other guy. These are these are the people who can get you hooked up with bands. And then, make sure you go to the Mel on a Saturday night, punk rock night, and talk to these guys.
That's awesome.
And at the end of the conversation, and he like could not have been more generous. And then with his time and his information. And at the end of the conversation, he hands me what was then Delzell's new, it was their first album, Aftertaste. Handed me a copy of Aftertaste. He said, by the way, this is our new album. Feel free to play whatever you want.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, thanks, man. So I got in my car and I'm feeling real, really good. I'm like, wow, man, if I could meet like 10 more people like him,
Dude, right?
we're
We
good.
should just clone him.
Yeah, he's like, if that's how people are here, then this is going to be great. Because where I come from, people ain't like that. People will meet you for coffee and help you. People meet you for coffee while their friends are outside slashing your tires or cutting your snare drum or fucking up your gear. That's how cutthroat it is. So I get in my car and I'm holding the CD in my hand and I put it. So yeah, I still have a CD player in my car. So I put the CD in, and the first song on the album is Right Bastard Shuffle. And I'm like, I grabbed my phone and I texted Tone. I was like, I think I got our theme song. It was like the first song on the album. And
That's awesome.
we used it, I think, through episode 140. So
Hell
we used
yeah.
it for the first 140 shows, and then we did we made some changes. But yeah, it's like that was the experience. And like, I know I keep kind of saying it, but it was weird to be like accepted by all of you, because where I came from, just getting a gig in a shitty, roach infested fucking ass stank club at 2:00 in the morning on a Thursday was like, it was horrible. It was horrible. You had to make ridiculous promises to people and beg and other things just to play for a half hour to nobody. Right.
Mhm.
And then to come here to Indy, where everybody was like, oh yeah, come on, let me come out to the patio at Birdie's. There's like 40 people that you need to meet. I want to introduce you to these people. Oh, this is the guy who's going to start doing the radio show. And that's how it went for like 6 months. For the first 6 months that we did the show, people were just like, come to the show tonight, and there's going to be some bands here. There's going to be some people that you should talk to, and it would be really, and it was awesome. It was awesome. And then I ended up meeting you guys, and yeah, it was just great. Like the sense of community was like, I had never in my life experienced anything like that before. Like everywhere I went, I was happy to see people and they were happy to see me, and nobody was a dick for like almost 4 years. Nobody was a dick. And then all of a sudden people started acting like dicks.
There's like two things that I got to say right out the gate to that. Actually, is like first is it's pretty awesome. I think that you know what I mean. That was your experience moving here. Like when I came back up to Indy, even from Southern Indiana, you know what I mean. It was like, who the fuck is this hillbilly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean. People are still like that. I can't help. I'll never shake the accent, but man, I don't know. That's awesome. It's actually kind of like makes me feel good to hear that. You know what I mean? Like someone like Alex was your first like real experience with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here. And it was a good experience.
Yeah. And it just kept going on like that. Like
it's awesome.
You know, once we got through those first, I do everything in sets of my life is divided into sets of 12. Everything that I decide to do, I'll do it 12 times. And at the end of that 12, if it's cool and I'm having fun doing it, I'll do more, right? So the radio hour, that was the deal. I told Scott, I said, let's do 12 shows. We'll do a series and let's see how it goes, right? And we had a lot of problems. We had a lot of controversies. We had a lot of issues with the guy who was quote unquote producing our show at that time. But the good things that happened for those first 3 months just pulverized the bad things that happened. Like we didn't even care about the bad things that happened because the good things were just amazing. We went to a show at the Rock House one night. Remember the Rock House?
Hell yeah.
Man, I loved the Rock
I went
House.
to a show at the Rock House one night. And again, I'm new at this. I don't really know people. I know a couple of people. And somebody at Rock House says, oh, and we only knew each other because our kids went to school together. And this woman happened to be there. She said, I got to introduce you to somebody. And she introduces me to this lady. And she says, this is the guy that I was telling you about who's doing that internet radio show. And she says, this lady has this really, really cool venue but nothing's really happening there right now. And it might be a really good place for you to do your radio show. And that place turned out to be Grove House. And the person that she introduced me to was Carrie Bone, who turned out to be like a sister. Like she's like a sister to me now. Like she's one of my closest like allies. Like she was part of the inner circle for so many years.
Hell yeah.
And we went and did our show at Grove House that week. And it was just me and Scott on the stage. We did the show on the stage with our little 4-channel mixer and our 4 microphones. And we had, I can't even remember who played, if we even had live music, if we had live bands playing yet. I don't think we were even doing that yet. But she said, hey, if you guys want to come back next week and do it again, that was pretty cool. Come back next week and do it again. And she said that every week for 4 years. So, hey, you guys come back next week and do it again. And eventually she ended up hooking us up with her friends Hero Jr. And Hero Jr. was like, I think they were the 2nd or 3rd band ever to play on the show.
Hell yeah.
And they were so cool about it. Like they called me on the phone. And they're like, yeah, Carrie told us about your thing. And, you know, we're thinking it would be really cool if we did an acoustic set. We have a record coming out pretty soon. And we're playing at Radio. And I went and he hands me this stack of CDs. It gives me all this free swag. And they came and played on the show. And people came, like 20 people came to watch them play on our stupid internet radio show. That was like episode 10.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Like, I don't even know if I'm going to be still doing this in a month, you know?
Right.
But that was the show that was the one that turned it around. It's like, okay, well, obviously
maybe we
people kind of know, are kind of aware of what we're doing right now. But yeah, it's like, that was the first time in my life I figured out what networking was, you know, like how to, like, who to talk to and when to talk to them and all that other stuff. And like I said, man, y'all just made it so fucking easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like nobody ever like fought back. Like nobody ever pushed back on me and said, why would I want, actually one band did, why would we want to do your internet? What do we need your internet streaming show for? Like, that only happened once. And it happened, even that happened in a diplomatic way. It was, yeah, let me talk to the rest of the band and I'll get back to you. And after 3 or 4 times asking and getting the same answer from the same band, I realized that they were just being polite.
Yeah.
That they were never going to come do the show, no matter how badly we wanted them to do it. And they never did the show. And that was like my one that I never crossed off the bucket list, was that band.
Yeah.
But out of out of 200 bands, I think that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I think we did.
absolutely.
I think we did okay.
Hell yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's people that I've asked to come and do a chopped liver show that are, always play like, yeah, like this, and that, and then it never happens.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah.
eh.
And it's this. That's life. I mean,
Yeah.
people have schedules, and I can never do it on that night. And we used to do every once in a while. We would say, okay, meet us at Grove House on Saturday afternoon, and we'll pre-tape your segment, which I hated doing. It was so dishonest. We'll pre-tape your segment, and it'll be like you're there. On Monday night, it'll be like we'll slide it right in after the fact and post and
slip it right on in there.
I hated doing stuff like that because it always felt very dishonest. But we really wanted certain bands on, and we had to accommodate. But then we started promoting shows, and people were putting Do It Indie on the fucking show posters, and we were like, what is happening? Getting asked to MC shows and stuff. It was a blast. I had a great time. I didn't make a penny. I never asked to, and it was great. It was great. I think that's why it was great.
Yes, that is like
you did it for the love of it.
Yeah, for me personally, like
the music was so happening, man.
Yeah, that is like the embodiment of why I still do chopped liver, and I still, you're gonna have, whatever.
You know who the other band on the
He's a
bucket list
madman.
was? You know who the other band on the bucket list was that we never checked off?
Who?
Fucking Fiber.
I would have been so awesome too. We would have loved it. Oh my god, yeah. Like there is no money in any of this, and I mean honestly, it just costs money to do it. But God, I just have so much fun.
No shit.
And I get to meet people and give people an opportunity to get to know artists and podcasters and writers and comedians, and get the word out there that we have a fucking stand-up comedy fucking community in indie, and that we have a great punk community, rock community, metal community, singer-songwriter community, and stuff like that. And I just love
creative community.
Yeah, art,
all of the
So
creativeness.
let me I want to turn the tables for a little while. I've been talking a lot.
I know, but that's kind of the point.
No, yeah, I know, because I see
Let's
it's
get
like,
to know
like,
MP
when am I
Cavalier.
going to stop?
I might have
talking?
to monitor on this over here though, because I'm looking at you.
Yeah, it's weird. It's, we're both
like,
at a weird angle.
They're catching the side of my face.
Well, yeah.
yeah.
So
your good side.
You've got it monitored right in your face, and you don't have one technically, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So let me ask you
No,
guys
I mean-
a question.
Sure.
So I mean, we stopped doing the radio show in June of 2017, so it's coming up on 7 years, right? And then I kind of fell out of the scene. Like I kind of I literally hung on as a hanger-oner for about a year. I was still going to shows and trying to be helpful in any way I could.
Yeah.
But eventually people stopped giving a shit. It's like I can't. I don't have anything to give you. So I'm just going to come to your show and support. But after a while, I kind of got tired of that, and then I moved out of Indianapolis, and it became more of a hassle for me to go to shows. And then the pandemic happened.
Yeah.
So what is happening like right now? Because I spoke to Ayanna Miller. You know her? Orchard Keepers.
Yeah.
About a year ago. Actually, I spoke to her today. Their new album's amazing, by the way.
I'll check it out.
Oh my god,
Hell yeah.
their new Orchard Keepers' new album. It just came out. It's called "The Moon Stares Back." It's killer.
Nice.
It's such a good punk record.
Hell yeah.
And I had
Yes,
asked
write that
her like a
down for
year
me.
ago. I was like, "Is there still like something happening?" And she like rolled off this list of bands. She's like, "Oh yeah, there's a lot of shit happening." So like, what is happening right now?
I would say the biggest thing that I have seen is the explosion of the metal scene and what Stranger Attractions is doing. Black Circle. I'd also say that Black Circle just has so much going on. They have a Sunday stand up every single Sunday with Cam O'Connor. We just interviewed him on Sunday. The punk scene is always going to live and thrive. You know what I mean? Like there's tons of bands that just keep coming through. I would say like one of the more popular locals is not, and they're not even necessarily local, but they're from Indiana, Belushi Speedball. Yeah,
That's a great band name.
check them out. They're awesome.
Okay.
So yeah, whenever I think they're from Fort Wayne, but whenever they come through, man, it's always a fucking killer
Okay.
show. There's the the singer-songwriter. You know, you have like uh Wayne Pennington, and he's doing a podcast now too. And there's a lot of people in that singer-songwriter core that are moving and shaking.
Mm.
Man, there's oh,
So I know like
there's so much.
like the 45 Creations guys, like that's kind of like they do shows at this place up in Carmel called Carmichael's.
Carmichael's, okay.
It's in a hotel. It's in
Mhm.
that big hotel that's up there. They have like a lounge club downstairs, which is actually kind of a cool place
Hmm.
called Carmichael's. And 45 Creations does the free form concert series, and it's almost predominantly singer songwriter because they can't have electric instruments down there as a rule. I think it's like
Yeah.
a venue rule. They can't have like an electric.
Can't
band
have
down there.
electric instruments, but say drums though.
Yeah, with limits.
They are acoustic.
So, but yeah, so I know that like there's a singer songwriter thing because that's predominantly what they do. And it was always so funny to me that that's like Indianapolis was split between the punk scene, the hip hop scene, and the singer songwriter scene. And now there's a big metal scene here.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. It just always seemed very like just odd to me that there wasn't a metal scene. But like I remember seeing metal bands.
Yeah.
But I guess your definition of metal may be
Well, you know,
all over the
back
place.
in the day, I would say most of the metal that you were hip to, that you would catch, was through Mona DiMaggio.
Yeah.
And through like Fifth Quarter
Yep.
and
Yep.
Beale Street.
Mhm.
And now the people involved with Stranger Attractions, they are like pushing, and they're getting bigger names in. I think they had Crowbar last week, right? They had a sold out Tuesday show
At Black Circle?
at Black Circle.
No shit.
Yeah. And you know, I'm showing a lot of love for Stranger Attractions and Black Circle, and they're fucking kicking ass and taking names right
And
now.
Black Circle is opening up a second. I thought I heard that they were opening up a second place.
They
somewhere.
have what is the name of that? It starts with an L. It's gonna come to me.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, it's down the road.
you just
and it's
started
called Luma,
Yeah.
Luma, something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Loom.
Loom.
I think it's just Loom.
Loom.
Lume, or
Yeah.
I can't remember how it's spelled.
But there's
you could do your laundry there.
like yeah, go for it. And there's also like right now, so like, have you ever heard of the Operators?
No.
They're a really ska band from
Uh-huh.
indie, and they're going out on big tours too. And there's a lot of indie bands that are getting out right now. So, but yeah, it's in general, there's just a lot going on.
That's great. I mean, I'm so disconnected from it, and I feel bad about it.
Don't. I
You
mean,
know-
that's you can only do what you can do.
Yeah,
And I always say, like, you can't make every show. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I definitely do not get out as much as I used to, especially like over the last whatever
yeah,
year.
yeah.
I missed a lot. But in general, I used to, like, when we first met, man, I used to go to the Mousetrap all the time. I used to go to the Rock House all the time. I used to go to Birdie's all the time. I was all over the
You do
place.
multiple shows a night. Yeah.
I mean, that was like, so Sticks and Stones came before Chopped Liver, and that's generally how I networked, was doing Sticks and Stones.
Mhm.
And my experience was the exact same. Like, prior to Sticks and Stones, I was in Fiber,
Mhm.
and that was it. I just played shows, and then every once in a while I would go out to a show, and then Nick came to me and said, "Let's do a zine." And we started doing a zine, and fast forward 2 years of doing that and just constantly being out and writing reviews about artists and shows and whatnot. And, I ended up starting Chop Liver.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of funny. We had like that similar path, That's kind of weird. Yeah. Well, that's good. That's great. I should probably start paying a little bit closer attention, because, there was a time when that's all I wanted to talk to anybody about, was about the local music scene here. I mean, I would drive my friends who don't live here crazy. Like we would, I've been on the same group thread with my friends back east for, I don't know, as long as Threads have existed. And I would drive them crazy. I would like send them like I would like send them Dropbox links. Oh, you got to listen to this local band.
Oh,
It's like,
yeah.
oh, you got to check out this new album by this band, Coup d'etat. Oh, you got to listen to this album by, you got to hit list these tracks by Funkbot. I would send them the craziest shit,
Yeah.
you know, and they'd be like, what the fuck is this? You know, like, because we're all, you know, we're all snobs.
This is art, man.
Yeah, we're all snobs. You know, these are like, you know, these are all the prog rock, you know, snobs that I hang out with, right? But I was like, oh no, there's some really, really cool shit going on here. And then I just kind of fell out of it, you know, because life happened, and then life almost stopped happening, and then the pandemic.
Yeah.
And you know,
Oh,
crazy
man.
shit happens, you know, and you know, changes your perspective on everything, right? But I'm gonna check out some of these bands. I'm gonna check out the Operators,
Yeah.
Belushi Speedball.
Yep.
And you'll check out the Orchard Keepers record.
The new one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I listened to it on my way here, actually.
So here's an interesting thing. Like, I'm trying to move Chopped Liver into not just music, but music, arts, stand-up, whatever, writer, whoever. Trying to make it a little bit more broader and diving in. So Sunday, we had Kim O'Connor, and he's doing a 4-day music festival. I'll actually show that brand real fast. He was on the show on Sunday, and he was, you know, we were talking about stuff, but he's the 25th through the 28th. He's doing,
It's a comedy festival.
yeah,
Okay.
comedy festival, 4 days straight of stand comedians. And he had said that right now, probably the best stand up out of Indy is Patrick Murray. And I just looked over and I'm like, Patrick Murray? He's like, yeah. I was like, holy shit. So during the pandemic, I used to, you know, once they opened up a little bit, I used to go to the Mel, and every Saturday there'd be not punk rock night because there's no bands.
Because there's no bands to play.
It's just
right?
people hanging out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lots of partying. And a couple of times I ended up hanging out with Patrick Murray. And I was like, holy fucking shit.
Was he funny?
Well, that's the thing, is he was funny, but I didn't know he was a
comedian.
stand-up.
Yeah.
So the other day,
You don't choose the stand-up life. The stand-up life
Yeah.
chooses you.
Yep.
You know what I
So
mean?
the other day, I
That's
was
accurate.
like, I
You
need
know?
to see if I could find his stand-up. And sure enough, on Spotify, live from, like, I think it's live from Bloomington,
Nice.
Patrick Murray. And I'm listening to it, and little bit, and then I revisited it today, and I was listening to it. Man, he had me cracking the fuck up. He is fucking hysterical.
So there's a comedy scene. There's a stand-up comedy scene. too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And all, you know, and that's the thing, is
I would
like,
kinda
even
like to
though
get into
like
that myself.
I've seen stand-ups and local stand-ups, but I didn't realize that Patrick was balls deep into it. So now I'm like, God damn, I gotta get Patrick Murray out here.
Yeah.
And
Hell
do a
yeah.
and do a show with him, and
Yeah.
so promote whatever he's got going on. And stuff
So are
like
you
that.
thinking about like segmenting Chopped Liver into, so like a music, so you got like your music based
Yep.
show, which I'm guessing is the show that we're doing right now, right?
Yep.
And then, well, music and old guy from years ago.
I mean, we're
Hey,
not
it's
nice,
all
but-
music affiliated, though. You know.
So are you thinking about doing like an arts,
I would-
like a non-music, like arts show, like stuff
let's
that's not
go. Yeah.
music
I
oriented?
just had to find the person to host the show, and I'll produce it.
Cool.
Yeah. I would love, I've
It's
been,
interesting.
I've talked to people about it, but it's never came to fruition. I am working on another show right now, and it's just a female lead host with only female guests.
Uh-huh.
And that's something
great
that's in the
idea.
works right now. But I would
That's a
love
great idea.
to have just a straight up weekly comedy show where just stand up comedians come on, and there's a host, and you don't ever see me. Or
You know who
hear
you should
from
talk
me.
to?
Who?
You know Kyle Buck?
Doesn't ring a bell.
So Kyle Buck is a local stand-up comedian. I'm going to get in so much trouble for telling you this. He's a local stand-up
You
comedian,
get a pankin.
and he's funny. And he actually hosts comedy shows. And I think it's something that he might be able to do. If he doesn't, I think that he might already actually have a podcast. But yeah, reach out to Kyle. And you know something? He's a really good dude. If he can't do it, he'll find you somebody.
That's cool. Hell yeah. The idea is, I mean, I just want Chopped Liver to grow to where it's, it's not like you're just seeing my face all the time.
You want to make a cultural hub for people to
yes.
like, you want to find some cool things to do. Check out this podcast. You want to hear some really funny fucking stand-up comedy? Check out this podcast. You want to hear some cool music? Check out this podcast. You want to hear some fucking fat old Jewish guy tell really long ass stories? Check out this podcast. So yeah, I think diversification is key, man. I mean, you can't.
That's what I have in my head.
Yeah, the only thing I would tell you is don't spread yourself too thin, because that's when
I mean, I'm already doing that,
but that's when trouble happens.
Yeah.
When you get spread too thin, you're trying to feed too many bunnies, or little birdies, and there's nothing left for you. You don't have any energy left at the end of the day. That's what happened to me.
I keep it fairly.
It's easy to happen, man.
Like, it's totally
to let it
easy.
happen.
Yeah.
So Wednesdays is podcast day, Sundays is podcast morning, and then Saturdays I leave open for bands that can't do Wednesdays or Sundays, and that's Hair of the Dog.
And Fridays you go shopping and have buttered scones for tea.
Fridays
do you get that reference?
Can confirm.
It's a Monty Python reference. The Lumberjack song.
Yeah. Fridays, every other Friday, I'm hanging out with my 5-year-old and 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And then on every other Fridays, I'm out doing feral shit.
Cool.
Hashtag Feral Fridays.
Yeah. I think it's, I mean, I would never talk anybody, especially like, you already have all the cool thing is you already have all the infrastructure.
Yeah.
I'm literally looking at it. You already have all the tools, and you already have the gift. I know you just need a couple of warm bodies to lift the load. You don't want to host 5 shows.
No, I'm trying my best to pull myself off of Sunday, but it's a fight.
It's hard.
And then
doing 2 shows.
Anything beyond these, or Hair of the Dog, or Party Crashers, which is where we go.
You go out,
crash a show,
yeah,
and basically video the whole show.
That looks like fun.
And interview people.
Yeah, we tried to do something like
anything in the future. Like, I do not want to be on the show. I'm just going to produce the show and provide the equipment and provide the artwork and help you run the schedule, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've made it to where I can have multiple locations to do the shows, and we can, travel.
That's like my hat's off to anybody that could run that many, because like I'm looking at like Ben, the guy that I do the show with now, he's doing 3 podcasts right now, and I don't know how he does it. I don't even know how he juggles the content in his brain, much less being able to be in the moment, present in the moment when he's taping those podcasts, and they're all good. I might be a little bit biased. Mine is good, and the other 2 he does are really good too, and they're not music related. They're not.
What other shows does he do?
So 45 produces a podcast called Stay Risky, and Stay Risky is actually kind of an interesting idea. It's like very intriguing to me. So Stay Risky, they interview one person for about a half hour on each episode, and it's someone who has taken a chance or blazed the trail. So like, okay, so the most recent episode they had Darren Snyder on, the Indian tune guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a guy who 17 years ago, before anybody was doing any of this shit.
Story for you.
Oh, I got, dude, please.
I know.
I got 1,000 of them. He before anybody even understood how any of this worked, 17 years ago, he started an internet radio station, and it's still going. He's still doing it.
Yeah.
And he's still having people on, and he's still doing hilarious interviews with local musicians, regional musicians. He's still running a 24/7 radio station. It's always on.
Wow.
He's won awards for doing it. So like, that's Stay Risky. So they have people like that on. And then they have people who are trying to do, they had a guest on, I'm never going to remember her name, but she started a local record label decades ago that's still going strong. And then they have another show where they interview kind of local entrepreneurs or, upcoming entrepreneurs. So those are the other 2 shows. And, like I said, I can barely like wrap my head around the 1-2 hour show that we do. And we don't do our show every week. We do it every 2 weeks. I can barely wrap my head around doing the research about the bands and and then of course the post production where I'm just like ridiculous. Like I'm like, nobody bother me for 4 hours. I don't care if the house is on fire. I'm doing post. Shit like that. And he's doing 3, and yeah, it's fascinating to me, and it may be just like coming down to age. I just don't have the I just don't have the energy for it anymore, man.
Getting old too, man.
Yeah. How old?
37
I get a pass.
in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I highly encourage anyone who wants to do that. What you're suggesting, what you're pitching, I mean, somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Why not you?
Hey,
right?
if you love metal and you're in the, you're a big part, you just want to fucking tell people about all this fucking awesome metal music. Host a fucking Chopped Liver podcast. I won't be on it. I'm just gonna run it. I'll bring like wherever you want to do it, as long as it's reasonable. Let's go.
So like not the top of the Eiffel Tower.
No,
But-
and that's the thing is I would prefer to shoot it here, but the thing is we're in the works of moving and running everything out of one location in Indianapolis, pretty much in Fountain Square.
Yeah.
But that is in the works, so I don't want to like touch too much on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But yeah, man, I want to spread it out, and it's just a few hours a week as long as I have a certain schedule. I would like to do it on Saturdays, preferably.
God
but
bless you, man.
yeah,
I'm glad that this kind of shit is still happening. I'm really happy about it.
yeah. I mean, dude, and I thank you so much for bringing us into this world, because honestly, like it's kind of crazy to think about.
We didn't birth you, we just delivered you.
Yeah, but man, like it's such had such an impact on my life, and it's like one of my favorite, if not my favorite form of creativity, because I get to do artwork and I get to like create weird fucked up videos. And just I don't know, it's just so neat.
Yeah, the creative part is a part of it that I love the most. That's I think that's probably why I get so heads down in post, because that's like where I get to like, because the show is spontaneous. Like we don't edit, there's nothing is scripted. We record it as a live podcast, but I have to do post production because I got to fly the music in and all that's, all that stuff has to happen to make it sound good, right? And I think that's why I get so heads down, because that's where I get a chance to be a little bit creative. That's where I get to play with processing, and that's where I get to try different mixing techniques, and that's why I get to try different things that nobody is ever going to even know is there. Like no one's ever going to say, "Oh, he EQ'd the voices a little bit differently."
Right?
They
I heard that little bit of reverb
they
you put
fucking-
on there,
they-
man.
they-
Was
they-
that a studio reverb.
Yeah, they rib me mercilessly about shit like that. They're like, "What are you tweaking the show? Why are you still tweaking the show? We've done this many and it sounds fine, so you don't have to tweak
Because-
anymore." It's like, because I'm obsessive and I'm anxious, so I need to, even if it sounds exactly the same as the last one did. I tried something different, and nobody's gonna notice, but I notice. So I think that's why. I think that's like my creative space now, because I'm not in a band. I'm not doing music right now. So that's where I get to do my thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about 40FI and how you and Ben started into that. But for right now, we're going to do a quick video and a word from our sponsor, The Button Guy.
The Button Guy.
The Button Guy. And that's, in case you didn't see it at the bottom, it's etsy.com/shop/The Button Guy shop. But right now, I'm going to pull up this video right here so you guys can enjoy.
I was sheriff of this county when I was 25 years old.
Of course. Yeah. Are we still sounding here? Yeah, we sure are.
What did you do?
I don't know.
This is trying to play the fucking clip from our favorite movie.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Is this going to be the Jerry Blank thing again?
no.
Really should only do that once per episode.
Wait, Jerry Blank? No.
He doesn't even remember. You can tell he made the name up on the spot.
Here we go.
I was sheriff of this county when I was 25 years old. Hard to believe. Grandfather was a lawman. Father, too. Me and him were sheriffs at the same time, him up in Plano and me out here. I think he's pretty proud of that. I know I was. Some of the old-time sheriffs never even wore a gun. A lot of folks find that hard to believe. Jim Scarborough never carried one. That's the younger Jim. Gaston Boykins wouldn't wear one up in Comanche County. I always like to hear about the old-timers. Never missed a chance to do so. You can't help but compare yourself against the old-timers.
Let's go. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise I ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes-Benz. Whoa, yeah, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just not interested in making friends. My biggest fear is finding out that this came and went. So go ahead, but I'm staying in. Okay, drop a song and pop up on your phone like I was YouTube. Connected to the fans without a hand, I did it Bluetooth. The only time I come up short is when they watching YouTube. Spinning with the drum, no wonder why my screws loose. Taking off and I can't stop, I beat them all by a landslide. Houdini, I popped out of that box even with hands tied. Big dog like Sandlot, but it's real life, no fantasize. Counting money, a damn lie, my hands clean, no sanitize. Whoa, had to switch up on the flow, gotta keep them on their toes. I move quick, I make the most, why they copy what I wrote. Follow everything I post, never trip about it.
A long time ago, I was in Burma. My friends and I were working for the local government. They were trying to buy the loyalty of tribal leaders by bribing them with precious stones. But their caravans were being raided in a forest north of Rangoon by a bandit. So we went looking for the stones. But in 6 months, we never met anyone who traded with him. One day, I saw a child playing with a ruby the size of a tangerine. The bandit had been throwing them away.
So why steal them?
Well, because he thought it was good sport. Because some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
We're back.
That was hilarious.
Hell yeah. I love the screen layout. It's all like, boop, boop.
And
That's
we're
cool.
back.
And we're back. Not a single one of us took a piss. But we did enjoy our little break
I
there.
did slightly before the break.
You're like, I did in my pants. It's a little bit. I just didn't feel like moving.
If peeing your pants is cool, then I'm Miles Davis.
You're going to want to have to dry off this chair.
Hell no, man.
Yeah, why start now?
Yeah, right.
So how did you and Ben start doing the Let's Play 10?
So let's play 10. So Number one question I get from anybody I ever run into from the scene. We got to find a new word.
Saying
It's
is scene.
10 years.
It's an arms
Still
race.
can't find.
Come on.
It's what?
It's an arms race. Come on.
It's an arms race. Yeah. Whenever I run into someone from the arms race, they always ask, the first question anyone ever asks me is, if they know me, they ask me how I'm feeling. And then the second thing they'll say is, do you miss it? And I'm like, no, I don't miss it, because it had a beginning and a middle and an end. And although the end was abrupt for everybody, for me, it was perfectly timed. It stopped when it had to stop.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been really, really bad. So I miss the people, I miss my, I made a lot of really, really good friends, man.
Miss
Like a
certain
lot, like a lot
aspects
of
of it.
people. Yeah, there are aspects of it absolutely that I miss. Going to shows, maybe not so much, because it's harder for me now to do it. And I think maybe I go to probably maybe 8 shows a year now, when I used to go to like 8 shows a month. I used to go out every weekend, right? So that, I miss the people and the interaction. And it's funny, I think I miss the smoking patio more than the actual show.
Hell yeah.
Because that's where the socialization happened, and that's where I get to
Right.
hang out and talk and shoot the shit with people. And
That's where all the weird shit happens.
Exactly. We come up with all these stupid ideas of stuff we were going to do to make everybody famous and shit. So yeah, that part of it I do miss.
I love daydreaming.
So when the pandemic, you remember the pandemic? Remember when everybody was like getting sick and
No.
dropping dead?
Trying to forget, man.
Yeah, me too. So the pandemic happened, and the first thing that happened when the pandemic happened is that my company that I work, my day job, sent me home. Just like most companies did, said, everybody, we're going to figure it out, but everybody needs to go home because you can't be here anymore. And so the whole country, the whole world went home, right? But I never went back. So I worked at home, and they were like, we'll have you back in 6 weeks. We're planning on bringing everybody back in 6 weeks. And then it was 12 weeks. And then it was 24 weeks. And then eventually they said, so your office, all of your, I'm an IT person. They appropriated all of our office space for other things. And they said, well, you don't even have a space to come back to, even if we wanted to bring you back. So you now work at home permanently. But for those first 2 or 3 months, getting used to the idea of working at home every day and like learning to love it, I fucking love it. Learning to love it. Doing that, like missing the people, missing the office experience. But you know what? I've been working for a long time. I've been working for like over 30 years in an office. And it was kind of cool. I was like, I'm in my own space now. And I created a comfortable space for myself to be in.
Take off your shoes
and do my job.
Yep.
Who puts on shoes? I worked in my pajamas for the first 3 months, right? I just like would go downstairs and grab a cup of coffee and go down to my basement space, and I would work.
I like to work in my underwear personally, but
I like to work in your underwear too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, I'm a welder, so the rest of my coworkers fucking hate it.
Yeah. Also,
it gets hot in there though, man,
and
Fuck it.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Those
well,
sparks fly.
It's a little
when
warm.
you're
It's a little
welding.
warm.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
I probably got burns all over me, actually.
Do they make you mop after a day of work in your boxers because your dick's dragging on the ground?
I mean, they have to mop their areas.
Yeah,
because you know what I mean.
Everybody's
turn up the juice.
Everybody's responsible for mopping their own area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I'm not going to clean up your mess.
That's a good
that
policy
you made because of my juicy booty.
That's an excellent policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I endorse that product.
Yeah.
So I started to so I can't say what industry I work in, but in my industry, things just kind of stopped for like a long time. And there wasn't a lot of work to do. So we were all doing kind of like old work, like we call it technical debt, right? Stuff that we should have done 5 years ago, but it was no big deal and we didn't have to worry about it. So let's just so everybody has something to do.
We got time for it now.
We have time for this now. So let's do this and let's clear the decks, So I'm not going to meetings, right? I don't have any like thing that's going to like tax my brain. So I just I had music on all day. So now I'm in my fucking element, right? I'm working, I'm getting paid to work. I'm working my job, but I'm listening to what I want to listen to. Nobody's interrupting me, knocking on my door. Hey, you got 5 minutes? Hey, can we pull you into a meeting for a half hour? Hey,
Yeah.
what do you think of this? And that's not happening anymore. So I have music on all the time, and it was awesome.
Man.
Until it wasn't awesome. And I was like, I need new music to listen to. Like, I'm starting to get bored with music. which is really bad for me because if I don't have music, I think I die. Like literally, I think
Your soul starts quivering.
I die. Yeah, I need it. It's like I love my family more than anything else in the world. But if I don't have music, like if I had to lose if I had to lose all my senses except one, my ears would be the one that I would want to keep.
I
So,
feel that.
and I was like, I can't listen to this Rush album again. I can't listen to this Beatles record anymore. I can't. I need something new to listen to, and I didn't even know where to look. Right. So I just started randomly listening to stuff. Right. I literally went to Bandcamp one day, and I had never been down to the bottom of the Bandcamp homepage before. At the bottom of the Bandcamp homepage is this scrollable, slidey album cover thing that you could filter by pretty much anything you want. So I went, okay, rock, punk, indie, whatever kind of music I was into. And it was just like in the middle of the night one night. It was like 2:00 in the morning. And I stumbled across an album by a punk band from Baltimore called Pink Shift. And Pink Shift is they are a modern day punk. It's not 80s hardcore punk. It's current day 2024 pissed off young people punk. Some people label
We
it.
need that.
Some people label it with the B word, the bubble word. I don't like genres, but I certainly don't like the bubble word. So
I don't know if I know the bubble word.
Bubble
Bubblegum.
grunge, bubble punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of this way of saying it's punk, but it won't offend your mom.
It's too bubbly.
It's got a pop
is what they're
element to
saying.
it. It's
I mean,
basically what Nirvana was doing, but now they've kind of
updated.
like music marketing people love to put labels on shit. They're obsessed with labels.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna call this bubble grunge because the band, like, the guitars kind of sound like Pearl Jam, but the vocal arrangements kind of sound like give me somebody. Olivia Rodrigo is a really good example. I think she's fucking awesome. I think she's amazing. So I found this band, Pink Shift, and the songs were angry and loud, and their singer Ashrita Kumar is a fucking amazing front person, and the music was good. It was fast, it was loud, the songs were short, and it's like, and I only put it on because I thought the album cover art looked cool, right?
Yeah.
And I really liked it, and I said, okay, this is really, really cool. I dig this. And so this is when the pandemic first started. So 2020, right? Spring of 2020. So I was still on that social media platform that I don't mention the name of anymore. So I followed the band, and then I started looking at their posts to see what bands they were listening to, what bands they were playing shows with, what bands they were just calling out saying, hey, we just heard it out. Our friends just put this record out. Oh, we just heard this great band from Philly. And I started listening to those bands, Church Girls from Philadelphia, Kalimasi from Chicago. There's a long, long list. And I started listening to all this music, and I was really digging it. And it was a lot of it I never really listened to before. It was just stuff that, I don't know, people who know me or think they know me would say, you probably wouldn't dig this, but I was really digging it because I thought it was what we needed, right? Because the fucking planet was shut down.
Yeah.
You couldn't leave your house. You couldn't go bowling. You couldn't go to the supermarket. You couldn't go hang out with your friends without having a mask on your face.
Yeah.
And
couldn't buy any damn TP.
You couldn't do anything. You couldn't get exactly. You couldn't get toilet paper. You couldn't get antiseptic wipes.
I used my cat.
Yeah. What is happening? And I was angry. I was really like super, super pissed. And here are these young bands. I'm old enough, these are bands of 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds making this really just angry music. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to listen to. So I did all day for months on end. Just every band that came across the transom, I'm like, I'm going to listen to that record all the way through today. And I just ended up building up this huge library of this new hard rock, new punk. The other word I don't like to use is the E word, but some of those bands carry that label, emo, whatever. I don't believe in any of that shit. And I'm not embarrassed.
Emotional? Doesn't all music have
exactly
some emotion to it?
And it's funny because the stuff that is actually really labeled as emo, a lot of it rubs me the wrong way. It's like, dude, you're a white kid from suburbia. You literally have nothing to fucking complain
Yeah.
about. Right.
The
I'm
worst
really
thing that's
sorry
ever-
that that girl doesn't like you, but dude,
Right.
you're driving a Beamer.
It's not that deep,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
The
exactly.
worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But it's
true,
all in its own way. It's all good shit. And now I feel like I'm reborn. It's like, oh my God, I have new music to listen to, and there's an endless supply because
Yeah.
nobody can leave the house, and everybody has a laptop, so everybody's making music. Everybody's putting out a new song every week. You know, because that's all they can do is get together in the guitar player's living room with the masks on and record right into the garage band and put it out there, and it all sounds cool to me. And after a couple of months, I'm talking to Ben one day, Ben Cannon. I'm talking to Ben Cannon one day, and we started having these regular communications almost every day. Have you heard this? No. Have you heard this? No. Have you heard this? And it just kind of built up from there. And I was like, I really want other people to know that this music exists. What can I do? You know, I don't want to do another radio show because I've done it. I don't want to do that again. But is there some way, like, can I like broadcast like a playlist of songs like out into the world with me just giving some background information on the band, where they're from, what they're about, who's in the band, what label they're on? Because everybody's stranded right now on their own little island and it sucks.
Yeah.
But is there any way that we can kind of make these new connections happen? And, you know, and I had kind of tried a couple of things on my own at home. You know, I tried a couple of like live broadcasting platforms that were linked to a streaming music service because the bands get their streams and I get my Jones, right? But they didn't work for me. Technically, they didn't work for me. They were flawed. There was a lot of bugs in the system. The technology was just defective and it didn't work for me.
Not like StreamYard.
Huh? Right, exactly, which is amazing.
Like, man.
Yeah. I mean, there was one where, you know, that every time, you know, you could only use, somehow it knew that you were using a mic interface. Like it could pick that up in the signal and it would glitch the mic because they only wanted you to use your headphone,
Your Apple
mic.
sponsored corporate headphone.
Yeah, it's just some kind of a headset mic. They didn't want people using professional gear, right? And so it would glitch. And I was like, what? That's bullshit. You know, that's ridiculous. So I kind of gave up on the idea. I said, maybe I should just listen to music. But then Ben said, well, why don't we just do a podcast? And I was like, a podcast? Like the legalisms and I said, there must be 1,000 people doing podcasts about new music, right? And he said, yeah, there probably are. And I was like, huh, yeah, there probably are. So maybe we could listen to some of those and try to do a better one, or try to do something a little bit different. Let's make it 1,001. Because then I started thinking, well, the more people, the more voices there are to promote these bands, the better.
The more bands that's going to get seen.
The more bands that are going to get seen, because eventually this thing is going to be, the pandemic will end. I was confident even then that at some point we'll figure out how to cure this and everybody can go back to work, and everybody can, I work in the industry, and everybody can go back to their lives and play shows again and get in the van and go on tour and go talk to shitty podcasters about their new album, you know? So I said, okay, yeah, let's figure it out. So we did the same thing that me and Scott did. We whiteboarded out a basic structure, and my only hurdle to get over was the legal part, the money part.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are we going to distribute this? How are we going to indemnify ourselves against getting sued because of the rule, the podcast, the copyright music rule? I said, we are playing small bands with small followings, but some of them are signed to labels, indie bedroom, living room, like boutique labels, like Heart, Take It to Heart Records or Swan, these small labels. Joyful Noise is a great example. Yeah. And, there's thousands of them. And I was like, I don't want to lose my house for my hobby.
Yeah.
So we figured it out, and for me, I'm in no danger of losing my house, and we're in no danger of getting sued now. So I was like, okay, cool. Let's do 12 and see what happens.
Yeah.
So we just kind of mapped out this show where Ben would pick 5 new songs from an indie small label or DIY artist, and I would do the exact same thing. And we'd come together every 2 weeks with his 5 and my 5, and we shuffle them up so that it's MP song, Ben song, MP song, Ben song, and we have 10, and it's let's play 10, and we give people the background information on the bands and um the background information on where people can get the music. We give them the links, we give them all the information that they need to go get this music themselves. And hopefully the goal is that with every episode somebody finds their new favorite band. That's like one of my little like taglines, like, hey, we're going to help you find your new favorite band. And it's been great. And the coolest thing about it is that the exact people that we want to engage with are engaging back. The bands are like being really, really great. And it's a global show. We're not concentrating on a part of the world.
Yeah.
We're concentrating on a planet. So we've been in communication with, we have bands now, friends, in Hong Kong and Singapore and Paris.
Awesome.
And
Hell
we just,
yeah.
Turin and Croatia. And we have a really good relationship with a bunch of artists from New Zealand and Australia. And it's great. It's really, really cool how responsive people are when you tell them how much, I love what you do. And I want to tell as many people as I possibly can about what you do. And I have this little podcast that has a small but pretty devoted following. And these people listen to the show for the music. They don't listen to the show for us. The show's not about us. And it's been amazing. Like everything like this, every venture like this starts really, really slow. You do that thing that you do where you do those 2 or 3 first couple of episodes. And then you start checking the analytics. Did anybody listen to the show? Did anybody listen to episode 2? Did anybody listen to episode 5? Oh, 7 people listened to episode 9. And that number starts going up, right? And people start contacting you and saying, hey, we heard what you're doing and we think it's really, really cool. And, we have a new record coming out or whatever. And it's been awesome. And then we just kind of supplement the music with, a semi-spontaneous conversation about a music culture topic, gender issues in the music industry or cancel culture in the music industry. And we actually had a very dark conversation about that a few episodes back. And
sometimes you have to have the dark conversation.
And sometimes we don't. Sometimes we just fuck around. Sometimes we will say, oh, let's talk about this on this episode. And then we'll get to that segment of the episode and we will talk about everything but that. We'll just be silly and we'll just talk about craziness, whatever it is. And it's great. It's good. Ben and I have known each other for a long time. We have a good rapport. We don't ever really run into issues where we're stepping on each other or there's dead air or anything like that. The flow is really, really good. And I think that we must know what we're doing because we have managed to keep every episode to just about the 2-hour mark with no editing. We don't cut anything out. We don't supplement anything. So it's good. Yeah. I mean, the thing, I love it because I'm listening to new music every single day. Like I'm literally discovering a new band almost every day of the week, which is like
awesome as shit.
That's like shitting gold, man, for me.
Yeah.
To be able to like find a new band, 4 or 5 or 6 new bands a week that you like, and maybe one a week that you love. Like that happened this week. A band called English Teacher put out a record a couple of days ago, whatever the last release day was, last Friday. It's a band called English Teacher from England, ironically enough, put out a record, and I'd heard a couple of singles from it, and I'd heard like their EP, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And then the record came out, and I listened to the whole record all the way through, and it's my album of the year. And it's like nobody knows who this band is. Like so few people know who this band is, and it's like, oh my god, that's so cool. And you don't want to like sit on that. you want to like shout that to the fucking world.
Hell yeah.
You know,
Yep.
there's a band from Dublin called Sprints that Ben and I are just like, I want them to play at my bar mitzvah, my wedding, and my funeral. I mean, they are amazing. Sprints from Dublin, great punk band. You guys would love Sprints if you haven't.
Hell yeah.
If you haven't heard them,
I got it wrote down.
they're really,
Nice.
really, really good.
I'm
And
gonna need that list.
they're just a great band. And it's just like every 2 weeks, it's like that. Every 2 weeks, Ben and I come away from every episode with like 2 or 3 bands that the other guy brought in. That's like, that was because we don't really listen to each other's picks before we tape the episode.
Yeah.
We try to go in deaf.
Does it get competitive?
It doesn't get competitive, but now it's getting to the point where we're starting to know each other. We know each other pretty well, but now we get to the point where like he'll find a song that he really likes and he'll listen to it and he'll say, I bet MP already has this one. So he'll contact me. He'll say, have you heard this band? And if I say no, he's like, good. I stumped him. I got him. You know, it's like a victory
Hell
when that
yeah.
happens. And, you know, it's a two-way street. It works both ways. And the cool thing about it is that our tastes are very, very, very different. Ben really likes the singer-songwriter stuff. And Ben really likes the more, I don't want to say populist or mainstream, but he likes the more like melodic arena kind of stuff. And I just want to like make people go, what the fuck did I just hear? Like,
Yeah.
what was that? You know? And it just works because we do have this good mesh of stuff. And then every once in a while, it might be a linear episode where I picked 5 absolute bangers and he picked 5 absolute bangers, and that's the show. And it's just like for 2 hours. And it's great. It's really great. So yeah, it's fun. I love it. I'm over the moon with this podcast right now. I'm really happy with the content, and I'm happy with the music is the best part.
Hell yeah. So like 4 or 5, I can't say it right. 45.
45. Yeah.
45.
Yeah.
Was that in existence before?
Yeah.
Let's play. So how do you know how that all came about?
Yeah. So 45 is really out of this. It's actually not out of Ben's head. Ben is really kind of I would consider him more of a consultant. Bram Epstein is really the guy that started 45. It's really his baby. And he envisioned 45 as an kind of a diversified entertainment company. They put on shows, they have this concert series that they do, the Freeform concert series. They do web design for bands. They produce podcasts. Bram has a bunch of podcasts that have nothing to do with music.
Mm-hmm.
Bram produces a podcast for a bunch of retired basketball players, which is really, really cool. And I think that they talk about sports. I've never seen it, but I think they talk about sports. And he's like a professional level, like video producer, audio producer. Bram is. He's really talented, and he's a good dude, and he's very funny. But he is very, very talented with the technical stuff and creative. Also, he's a very creative guy. So 45 is really his thing, his brainchild, and he brought Ben in to answer a lot of questions about how do I, produce bands, and how do I make how do I get bands to understand what it means to go on tour. So they actually have an educational arm where they teach new artists, this is how you get local bands to support you. So if you want to play a show in Milwaukee, right? Well, you got to start doing your research about the local scene there and find out who played at the club that you want to play at 6 months ago or a year ago.
Yeah.
Right. And did they draw a lot of people? Look at pictures of those gigs. Were there a lot of people? Were there a lot of bums in seats? Contact that band and see if they'll open for you when you play there, or see if you could get on their gig where they're headlining. So they're doing like educational stuff like that. And then all of the multimedia stuff and the promotional stuff. And I think they even have album reviews on their web. They have a couple of really good writers who do like album reviews for them. So Let's Play 10 came along like at a good time because 45 was already an established thing. So without going too much into the isms of it, they basically own the show, but on paper, it's their show. and me and Ben host it, and I produce it in my studio, and it worked. It just worked out really, really well. It's like everything just kind of fell into place.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't have to worry about stuff, because that was like, that's what kind of sank the whole thing for me originally. Was I don't want to worry about stuff. I got enough to worry about. We all have lives. We all
Yeah.
have jobs, and we all have kids and bills to pay. And as much as I love doing this, I don't want to worry about having to do this. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, it's a good umbrella to be under, I guess is a good way to put it. So that's what Fortify is, a much larger thing.
Oh yeah.
And Let's Play 10 is just kind of sucking the teat.
Sucking the teeth.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I really appreciate what you do and your passion for it, man. And
yeah.
I cannot tell you like how thankful I am to have met you and to bring me into this world. So
Like I
man.
said, we didn't birth you, we just delivered you.
And by the way, if you are unaware, you could check out MP's podcast at fortifycreation.com/let's play 10. And
Thanks.
I did put
And
the link out there for people, as you can see right here.
Yeah, that's cool. That it goes to the link goes to the podcast page, because they have other podcasts that are really cool too.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, if you I say this at the end of almost every episode, if you are in a band, if you have a band, if you know a band, if you like a band, if you hate a band, if your cousin's in a band, right? If you're into a band, please email me, mpcav at fortifycreations.com, and let me know. You could just email me there is a band called something in the somethings you should check out. That's all I need. You don't have to send me a link. You don't have to send me a fucking file. Send me the name of a band, and I promise I will go listen to that band.
Hell yeah.
I do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love
that's
that.
yeah. I mean, it's like passing somebody at a show. Hey, do you like that band that was just on stage? Yeah, they were really cool. You should check out this band. And they just give you a band name, and you put it on your little phone, and you go home and you Spotify. You stream. Oh, cut that out. You stream that shit, and
It's live.
and listen to it. You want to hear a really amazing story about him?
Absolutely.
This is my favorite. This is my
Absolutely.
favorite Shep story of all
Oh
time.
man, I'm dying to hear it.
Okay. So when I was a much younger person and I could spend my money frivolously, I bought a guitar. I bought guitars. And I've always wanted a Stratocaster, but I couldn't afford a real Fender Stratocaster. So I bought a Squier Stratocaster when I was like, I was probably 20, 23, 24 years old. Bought a Squier Stratocaster. And this is when I was playing there was a point where I was playing in 4 bands back in New York. I was playing in 4 bands. I was writing music. I was recording music at a little home studio. I was in the thing for myself. That's all I was doing. You know, I had a job, but then when I wasn't working, it was music. I was playing music. So when I moved here, there got to a point in my life when I was like, I guess I'm just not going to do this anymore. And also I didn't really need guitars anymore, because I had at some point in my 20s had switched to bass, and that was my instrument. Right. I was a shitty guitar player, but I'm a passable bass player. So I stopped playing guitar. I couldn't even try anymore. Right. These motherfuckers I grew up were like doing like Eddie Van Halen runs when they were like 15 years old. And I was like, I can barely play Layla. So, okay, I'll switch instruments. You know, I saw Les Claypool on TV one night, and I went out the next day and bought a 5-string bass.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I have these. Oh, nice. I have all this gear. Right. And I'm like, you know, we have a kid now, and, you know, we're starting to outgrow our house at that point. It's like, I got to get rid of some of this stuff. And I know a guy who needs a guitar, and I'm going to give him this guitar, or I'm going to sell him this guitar, $50, whatever. So I meet Shep, and we knew each other already. We had interacted. We knew each other.
Yeah.
Right. And I meet him at the Mel across the street. I wasn't at the show. I was just there to give him this guitar. Meet him outside the Mel. He comes out, and he said, all right, let's take a look at this thing. And I open up my trunk. I open up the case, and he looks at it. He looks it over for a minute. He goes, I can't take this shit from you, man. I was like, what's wrong with it? He said, this guitar's worth a lot of money. And he like I think it was like the serial number, or there was some kind of indicator on the headstock
Yeah.
that you knew
Yep.
this was not like,
It's like, listen, bud, this ain't your regular
This wasn't
average
like-
every run of the
right.
day, or
right. It was something about either where it was manufactured or the year it was manufactured or both, that you knew looking at this guitar and said, he basically said, I'm not going to take this guitar from you because it's actually a pretty good guitar and it's actually worth a lot more than what I can give you.
This ain't a knockoff, kid.
He said take the
made in
guitar. He was like,
Japan.
take the guitar home, clean it up and restring it. It's a really beautiful guitar. You could probably get a lot of money for this. I still have it, by the way.
Hell yeah.
And
awesome.
I walked away from that conversation thinking, if I was pretty much anywhere else in the world right now, especially my hometown, I
They
would
have been like, yeah, dude, sure.
I'd
Here's your
have
$50.
I'd have $50 in my hand, right? Thinking that I just sold a shitty guitar for $50 and then it's going to be on eBay. You know,
Mhm.
this motherfucker said, I'm not going to take it off your hands for any price. I'm not going to give you any money for this, no matter how much I have, because it's worth more than what I can give you. I was like, first of all, what a fucking stand-up thing to do anyway, under any circumstances, right? But it's not like we were like best buds. He hardly knows me. You know, we had met, we interacted, we had already done the RFI thing, you know, chop liver and all that stuff. But I was just like totally, like completely taken aback by your generosity to say, not only say, I'm not going to take this from you, but also to explain to me in very clear language that even an idiot like myself would understand why you wouldn't take it from me. And then additionally say, here's what you should do. Because not a lot of people do that. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to buy a guitar for some guy for $50 tonight, which is good because I really need a guitar. I think you actually needed a guitar.
Yeah.
I think you broke.
Yep.
Right? You
Yep.
had something happen to your guitar, right? I know I'm bringing up.
I did.
I'm
Thanks
bringing up
for
a shit-
not
I'm
bringing
bringing up
one
a
I
shit-
could buy from
I'm
you.
bringing up a shitty memory. I'm sorry.
Shipwrecked. Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
sorry. But yeah, I wanted to, I don't know if you probably had never heard that story.
I had not.
But you and I had
no.
never hung out, but that's like the first time I ever like would meet someone that knows him or his name would come up. Anytime his name comes up, I always go, you want to hear a really cool Shep story? And I tell them the Fender Stratocaster story.
Hell
It was
yeah.
just a fucking stand-up thing to do, man.
Man, and
Yeah,
that
man, he's a stand-up dude.
He
That
is a
says a
stand-up
lot
dude.
about his character for real, though. Because
well, thank
I
you
mean,
for telling that. And
So let me ask you a question.
yeah.
You want to buy a really nice Strat?
bust out the check.
And that Strat is very collectible, by the way.
I still have it.
Good.
Yeah, I still
That,
have it.
hang on to because it will be worth a lot of
Yeah.
money one day. It's one of those very rare in a moment Stratocasters where all the parts are American and it was built in Baja California and shipped down to Mexico and then whatever and then
Processed.
yeah, processed. So it says Mexican,
But it's made in America.
but it's made in America.
Yeah.
Very
interesting.
rare find. It's kind of like those Japanese Strats. They're kind of rare to find too. But yeah,
Japan
Yeah.
stuff's always
And
fire.
it's funny because I remember when I bought that guitar, I bought it at a music shop in Brooklyn, and not a big name place, you know, a local place. I bought it at this place in Brooklyn, and it was I remember the transaction being very kind of lackadaisical. You know, like when you buy a piece of gear, especially when you're a young person, you buy a piece of gear, it's like very exciting. You're like excited.
Mm,
I'm buying gear.
I
Oh,
love
yeah.
New Gear Day.
Right?
It's like
Yeah.
Nudie Magazine Day for real.
Exactly.
Every goddamn
But I
time.
remember like the whole transaction being very much, you know, I want to buy that guitar. And like the guy just taking it off the wall and handing it to me and telling me how much it was. And that was the entire transaction.
It's the force, bud.
I literally I handed him the
It
money.
really is. That's
I
the
handed him the
force.
money. He said, hang on a second, I'll get the case. Brings me the case. I put the guitar in the case and I'm like, is that it? He's like, yeah. It was like a $250 purchase or a $200 purchase. And that was it. And I was like, oh, okay. So I never really thought much of it. Cause like when you buy an expensive guitar, when you buy like a Les Paul
Yeah.
or or a Paul Reed Smith, or when you buy like a good quality guitar, a Martin, even the people who are selling it to you, who sell hundreds of these things a year, they get excited too, because you're buying a really good piece of gear and they're making a hefty commission,
Oh yeah.
But this guy, he was like the owner of a small music shop. He's selling a $200 guitar to some fat schlub who just walked in off the street, never been in his store before and never went back. Never going to see him again. I don't even know who the hell this guy is, but yeah, okay, yeah, give me your money, buddy, and here's your guitar.
$250.
Yeah.
$250.
So thanks, man.
$250.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's the Shep Strat story.
I love it. I love it.
Fucking
He's just a good guy, man.
You know what?
Good guy.
It made me think of a story that kind of might have set the tone for that type of mentality. And my senior year, the year after, my buddy Justin Tucker, love you, dude. He was leaving for wherever, and he had this Gibson SG, and he just, he was like, "Hey man, if I sell you this guitar, will you hang on to it so I could sell it back to you?" And man, I was in a hard time. This is when I was like 19, and I ended up having to sell it. And I've never really forgiven myself for that. And I look back now, and Justin, whenever I talk to him, he's like, "How's that all SG doing, you son of a bitch?" And he's totally understanding about the whole thing. But now that same SG, they only made it for a year. They made an SG, a Flying V, and an Explorer. I think it was like the F9 series or something. But basically, it was only 1989 they built these things, and they had the Floyd Rose system, and had all these special things to it.
That was such a
all
big
the
deal.
bells and whistles.
Remember what a big deal that was? You got a guitar with a Floyd Rose locking system on
Yeah.
it. You were the shit.
And
Yeah,
now, like, I just saw one the other day. It reminded me of that. I saw a Flying V version of it, all black, and it was like $1,000, $1,200. But those guitars are worth way more than that. Whoever was selling it, they're here in Indy. Like, dude, like, I don't know who you are.
Add a zero.
Yeah, I don't, like, I don't know who you are, but if you hear this or you see this and you got your fucking Flying V version of that SG that I had, pull that shit off of there, because they only
give it to
made
this dude Shep right here,
No, I don't
he's
want
a good dude.
I don't want it.
You don't want it,
No.
but you know what? You're a nice guy, and you deserve a fucking.
You're
cool
a good
guitar.
dude, Shep.
The only
He
way
is a good dude.
Yeah, he is a good dude. Yeah, you're a good dude too. I just met you.
Dude, I fucking love Bronson.
Bronson,
man.
Swanson, motherfucking Johnson.
Yeah, like
the only one.
The only one.
I don't know. I would love to just surround myself with people of great character. You know what I mean? And he's definitely one of them.
I thought that I thought that they, in the old days, I thought that they made you up. I didn't think that you were an actual.
They Ricky Stanicki'd me.
They did. Yeah. They did a bumper, a promo for their show, and we ran it on our show. And it was like, it was typical Shep. It was like, this week on Chop Liver, Paulie Punk's gonna jump off the Eiffel Tower naked with his dick in his hand, whatever crazy shit that they were doing. And it's like, also we got this guy and we got this band and Bronson, Swanson, motherfucking Johnson. And I'm like, there's no way that that's a real person. But I gotta meet him,
He is.
Oh my God.
That sucks. I wasn't there the night though that you were there. I don't know what I was doing.
It was such a bizarre night. I think every once in a while, like so confession time. The only time I look at Facebook once a day, and I only look at my Facebook memories. So I'm not active on Facebook anymore, although I did post on your thing today.
Yeah.
Right
on,
but I think that's like the first time I've posted anything on Facebook in years. But I look at my Facebook memories, and like those pictures come up from that night. Those pictures come up from that weird. It's just like these couches, like same
exact couches. Yep.
That we sat in like
I've slept on these
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it was like
Yeah.
there was like 8 or 9 people there, and just like plates of shots, and I'm like, what? Like, all right, you know, this could maybe I don't know, maybe I should make sure my will is up to date and shit like that. But yeah, it was a lot of fucking fun.
Some
But
wild
these
times,
couches,
man.
I
There's some wild
when I
times.
think about, and I know you got to go, I know you got to shut it down, but when I think about all of the people that have sat in these couches and done this show and your old show, when I think about all the people that have sat in these couches, I literally am. It makes me ill, and I think I need a shot of penicillin. I need penicillin like right now.
The things that have been done.
I'm
on
not
these
going to
couches.
argue with
Just
you.
the amount of
It's that one and that one over there. You got to watch
like
out
the
for
bodily fluids and the
Oh,
the thousands and thousands and thousands of cigarettes that have been consumed in this thing.
Oh, man.
In these couches these are museum pieces, my friend.
So the couches you're sitting in right now actually were my parents' couches in high school, and they ended up giving them to me. So just the parties that we would have at that house.
Not making me feel any better.
Oh, you have no idea.
I have an idea. I was a teenager.
Oh, just
Right?
historically,
Yeah.
historically sticky couches.
Shit, man.
I
Had a
was
whole
a teenager
cabin when I was
40
a
years ago.
teenager.
Yeah. And they're still they're very comfortable. Let's
You know, my favorite type of weed was cocaine. 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 Cocaine.
You son of a biscuit-eating bulldog with the French toast. I wouldn't find out about your little doo-doo-head cootie queen. Who are you calling a cootie queen, you lit? Oh, you kumquat! No, you're overreacting when I put your convertible into a wood chipper, stinking extinct face. Uh-oh. You hoboken.
Oh yeah, Daddy.
Cocaine. 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 Cocaine.
Facebook.
Thank you guys, whoever caught that. Thanks, Bobby. Thank you, Peter.
Oh, I wonder how old those messages are.
I don't know.
I guess they probably can't hear you if there's no sound.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay.
So we lost about a minute there.
Okay.
But either way,
But we weren't saying anything important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
I think we were comparing dick size.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not with each other. Not with each other, though. Not with each other.
Just what Bronson was pulling up on his phone.
Random, just
Yeah.
randos.
Well, you know,
just random. Yeah. He was like, "Oh, look at this guy's." I'm like, "I'm bigger than him."
I swear he's not looking at penises right now.
No, definitely not.
Trying to,
but God, I just really enjoy doing this, and I really have fun. And thank you.
That is, dude, you are very welcome. Thank you. And that, you're right though. That is success. Like
it's just having fun.
It's having fun. Yeah. Like how big does your house really need to be? How many cars do you really need to own? Do you need a pool? Like how much money do you really need in the bank? Like what is happiness? Like how do you measure happiness? And obviously, as we all get older, those things, those priorities really start to change.
Yeah.
Good.
When I die, I may not be a millionaire. I may not have a fucking yacht, but I will have a fucking tank full of memories and joy.
Exactly.
And seeing live music and fucking,
Yeah. And I will have a VHS copy of the 2023 Chopped Liver Mid-Crisis highlights tape.
Oh yeah!
I thought you were going to say City Slickers 1 and 2.
I'll have City Slickers 1 and 2
I'll definitely
also.
have the Star Wars.
My parting gift. There it is.
I've had people ask me about that. They're like, "Why are you like nobody has a VHS player?" I'm like, "Because I want you to have something
I know almost
to look back on and be like, I remember that night. I remember that podcast. That was so much fun."
I know almost every line of this movie.
Hell
the first one.
Oh man,
City Slickers. I mean, it's an '80s movie, so. Yeah,
I know almost every line of this one.
That's
actually, I did go to a pretty awesome. It was Return of the Jedi with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra playing.
Was that amazing? Yeah,
dude, it was so amazing.
Yeah,
so amazing.
Yeah, they're a good band.
Me and my lady are actually going Friday. Her friend gave her tickets to The Force Awakens with the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra.
No shit.
I think it's at a different place, but. Yeah, I'm like, shit.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So we're going to that Friday. That should be awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm like, man, give me all the Star Wars stuff. I was kind of hoping you were going to bust out the Dale Earnhardt chair for me.
So the other half of the couple that own Grove House, Carrie and Mark is the lead bassoon player for the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah.
He is the real deal.
That's awesome.
Played sax on my EP. He's a good dude.
Peter Graves.
So what's... Uh-oh.
Shep's a good one.
So what's in the box?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Let's go ahead and pull the questions.
I pulled mine.
I got one.
Oh,
I haven't looked at it.
Go ahead and start, MP.
So do I just read what's mine? Do I just read what's on the paper?
Yeah. And then Bronson has to answer. I have to answer. Then you have to answer.
Okay. So there's something written on both sides.
All right.
Read them both.
Okay. So this one says, share a random crazy story.
There you go.
Oh, shit. I gotta go first.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. A random crazy story. All right. Well, you said something about. Oh man. All right. You said something about acid earlier. I got a crazy acid story.
There you go.
And maybe a cocaine story and bar hopping story. So I'm dressed as Captain Jack Sparrow. Went through a bit of a time there when I had my dreads. And yeah, so went to the bar with a couple of friends, met up with some friends, ended up leaving, giving one of them a ride to go, get some party stuff, whatever. This was a different time in my life. Anyways, had a head full of acid. We got back to the bar before the acid started kicking in. And yeah. Long story short, I'll cut to the chase here. So I saved a dude's life. He's walking after we had all left and everything. I was going to meet them at a different spot. I'm driving because I didn't trust the drunk friends to drive my car. I figured I was the most prepared. It was my car, so I'm like, well, if we're all gonna get in trouble, I mean, you guys, whatever. Anywho, thankfully we did not. Anyways, don't do drugs. this guy is like walking down the road, and he looks like that commercial where the dude's walking with the headphones on and his legs are fucking flipping around like this and shit. And I'm like, I'm laughing because I'm tripping my balls off. I'm like, God damn, this dude's getting down or whatever. I'm freaking out. Well, turns out he was just very, very drunk, and he like face planted onto the sidewalk. I mean, kabam, like Home Alone, back feet up, scorpioned, just, you know, right in the fucking sidewalk. And we stopped, and dude's trying to get up, and I'm like, hey man, you need some help? And he's like, yeah. And I get up and I like help him, I pick him up, and he looks up and sees Captain Jack Sparrow. And I'm like, come on, man, where you live? You know what I mean? I delivered Chinese food in Bloomington at the time. So I'm like, where you live at? I know where it's at already. You're a college person. Where's it at? Happened to be a place I used to live at, which I have many more stories about, but that's for another time. So I get him there, and this dude is like, he's thanking me and shit. And like I've never felt gratitude like that. Like when the dude shook my hand and he's just like, dude, thank you. I'm like, man, like this, thank you for getting home safe, whatever. Anyways, I looked at the guy. I'm thinking that in my head. I didn't say that. I'm listening to him the whole time. I look at him, and I was just like, no one's ever gonna believe you.
Yeah.
And his face, he's just like, what the fuck? Well, a friend of mine was like, you know, picture's worth 1,000 words, you know what I mean? So I grabbed his phone and took some pictures on his Snapchat or whatever, you know what I mean? Like Captain Jack delivering this motherfucker home safe type shit, whatever, and saved it on his phone so that if he just so happened to not save him, he had the, you know. And I don't know, I've never heard from him or anything since. I was like several hits of acid deep when the guy that gave me the acid, we got to the bar in Bloomington, and this guy's like, Captain Jack, he's like, jump up and click your heels together or whatever. And I was just like, no, I'm sober. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, dude, I ain't doing that. He's like, come on, man, jump up and click your heels together. And I was like, Captain gives the orders, bud. Like, I'm not doing that shit.
That's funny.
And he's like, all right, man, you know what? Here you go. Pulls out his little, he had a satchel, literally a satchel, dressed like a wizard and shit. Pulled out some aluminum foil, ripped off a chunk of fucking paper, and was like, here you go, man. And yeah, I don't know. I ate a few hits of acid and hung out with my friends, had a good time. Ended up like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to go ahead and say I saved the dude's life. Cause I mean, at least saved him from getting arrested. Cause I mean, I've never seen the dude like literally land on his face, didn't even put his hands up. He was hammered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't just drive back past this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let him go.
You did a good deed.
So, I mean, yeah, drugs are bad,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Drugs are bad.
I did manage to at least do a good thing during a bad time. Not a bad time. It was a good time.
It sounded like a good time.
It was a good time. Yeah.
So
But, yeah. I don't know what happened to the dude. I've never heard from him.
That's it.
There's just
Never
a
heard
random
from
guy
him.
out there that's like, man, I got fucking saved by Captain Jack one time. And he's got a picture of it. I hope the story comes back around sometime,
Full
man. So
circle.
if you see that
Yeah.
and he sees this or whatever, share it. Hit me
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Bronson Swanson Johnson.
I got
Bloomington, Indiana, IU, circa 2017, I think it was. Yeah.
I got a similar story.
Yeah.
So similar. I took a cigarette break at Domino's on 38th Street, the one by the Mel Fairgrounds, and I'm sitting there smoking, and I see this lady walk across the street, and she walks into the parking lot, and she's like on the edge right there where the sidewalk is, and she just stops. And at this point, I'm watching. I'm like, what is this crazy woman doing? And she like spreads her legs. She's wearing a dress, and she just takes a fucking piss right there, broad daylight,
Jesus.
in front of traffic. Just takes a piss, and then she disappears. And I'm thinking to myself, like,
Those guys are so Z on your
crazy. I see the craziest shit, right? And I was like, dude, I bet $10 I'll never see that woman again. And then 2 minutes later, she walks back by and she's got a Domino's pizza in her hand. And she just fucking walks right through her puddle of piss and across the street and keeps going.
That's not the Domino's story I thought you were going to tell.
No, no, that's my crazy story. Has nothing to do with what you said.
No, I know.
I just had to be a, you. So, what about you, MP?
When I was I was probably 25. I went on a vacation to Mexico. And at that time I was working at the Associated Press. That was my employer almost the whole time that I worked in New York. I worked for that company.
Right on.
And back then, you had a laminated card with the company name on it and your name and your picture so that you could move around the building, so you could get in so that it was your ID badge.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if they even have ID badges.
Oh, they
anymore.
do.
Security badges.
Yeah.
But this wasn't even a security badge. It was just a laminated card with the AP's logo on it and my picture and my name and my hire date. That was it. I don't even know why we had these things, but I had one. Anyway,
Nobody looked at them.
I'm in Mexico and I'm in Puerto Vallarta, right? Puerto Vallarta is like, is it even Mexico then? I mean, is it in the late 80s? Is it even Mexico? It's America. Every hotel, every restaurant is owned by an American company, right? But it's still Mexico. It's Puerto Vallarta. If you go off the strip, have you been there? If you go off the strip, you're in Mexico, right? Like hardcore Mexico. It's like you're in the mountains and there's no roads and stuff like that. But if you stay within the resort area and the strip area, you're good. So I was there, and one night I went out for a walk on my own. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go out the hotel. I'm going to go down the strip, and I'm going to take a walk and go get a drink at Carlos and Charlie's or some American conglomerate-owned bar, and that's it. On the way to where the restaurants and bars are, there's a car dealership. And the car dealership, the architecture of it was so weird to me because Puerto Vallarta is a modern town. I mean, it's built by American companies. It's a modern city. But this car dealership out front of this place had this massive concrete platform that was probably, I don't know, 20 or 30 feet wide by probably 30 feet deep. And it was probably about 6 or 7 feet high. Concrete slab with cars parked on it. Right up to the edge. No decoration, no painting, no Toyota, nothing. Just a gray concrete slab in this Mexican car dealership. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting. I'm going to take pictures of these Mexican made Toyotas, right? I'm just a tourist. So I get out my little camera and I pointed at the car, start pointing at the cars. And the next thing I know, I hear, and I turn around and there's a barrel of a shotgun in my eye, basically. Like in my, like
Holy
this close
shit.
to my eyeball.
Hi, I'm looking for Ray Finkel.
Yeah.
In a clean pair of shorts.
Right. I hear the click and I just instinctively, I'd never actually heard that noise in real life before. Ever. Yeah. I've heard it in the movies and on TV, but never in life.
Yeah.
But
Ears go up.
I just instinctively turned around and there's a barrel of a long gun in my eye. And I didn't what do I do? Like, do I piss my pants? Do I shit my short? Like, I don't even know. I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak a word of Spanish and I'm by myself.
Yeah.
And I just stood there thinking, okay, I guess this is it. Right. I thought I was being robbed. Right.
Yeah.
Which really sucked because I didn't have my wallet with me because I realized at that moment that I left it in my other pants back at the hotel. Mm-hmm. So now and all I wanted to do was get a drink. Right. And even if I had gotten to that point, I would have been totally fucked because I would have ordered a drink and then not been able to pay for it because I didn't have my fucking wallet on me because it was in my other pants. Right. Back at the hotel. So here's this gun in my face.
All the man wanted was a Pepsi.
And I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to get shot. I mean, I'm assuming that this is what's going to happen. And I'm frozen. I'm not a brave person, and guns scare the shit out of me anyway. And I'm just frozen in place. And the guy holding the gun says, he says, you can't take pictures. I'm not going to do a Mexican accent. It's not PC anymore. He says, you can't take pictures of the cars. But he says it in an accent. Can't take pictures of the cars. And I went, no.
I'm somewhat of an actor. Do you want to give me the line?
And he went, no. And he pushed the gun further into my face. Like he was serious.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why. All I had to do was put my camera down and say okay. Okay is a universal thing. Every language says okay the same way.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no.
No. Nothing weird. All I had to do was say okay or say nothing.
Yeah.
And just back away, right? Because he was wearing a uniform. Like when I was able to focus, he's wearing a uniform. Right? So he's either federale or local cop or whatever. So he's not a bandit.
Yeah.
He's not a bandito, you know? So anyway, I don't know why I did this. And I don't know why my brain works the way it works. But I remembered that, again, oh, my wallet is in my other pants back at the hotel. But in these pants, I have my work ID. So I took it out and showed it to him. And I went, journalista. Because I worked for the Associated Press.
Yeah.
And it's got the AP logo on it that everybody in the world knows what the AP is, right?
Yeah.
And I went, journalista. And he went, okay. And he put the gun down. He stood there while I took pictures. I didn't want to take pictures of the cars anymore, but now I fucking had to.
Right? I should probably take a few pictures.
I said I took a few pictures and I said, okay. And he went, okay. And that was it.
Yeah. And that
Yes.
badge all of a sudden had meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holy shit. Hell yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I'm like,
by the
I
badge.
was like, wow.
I thought you were gonna say that when you were saying okay, they thought you were saying what?
Oh, cause K.
K means
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
I
Which
thought-
would have been even worse.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
What?
But that was like nothing like that had ever happened to me and has not ever happened to me since.
Man.
But I was like, wow, that's what the barrel of a gun looks like? Damn.
Ooh. Yeah. That is not. Ooh.
Fucked up shit.
Yeah. Holy shit.
That's my
crazy.
random.
That's pretty
That's my
crazy.
random crazy
pretty
story. I bet
crazy.
you. Yeah. Oh, he's probably going to tell a hilarious story about a Who concert he went to in the 1980s. No, I was almost killed.
I actually kind of in my head there, I thought you were gonna go a different way with it and say you fucking like Roundhouse kicked it out of his hand and was like fucking.
That's
you
the
know,
Chuck Norris version of the story.
That's yeah. I'm like, I was kind of waiting for that. Though. I don't know.
I only tell that version of the story on podcasts that I don't like.
Oh yeah, okay.
But I love this podcast, so I told you the real.
Oh
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's see. You want to do? Let's do one more.
Mine's where would you move and why? So what's yours?
Oh, that's an easy one.
Oh man. I don't.
Do you want to pick one just in case, or you want to do that?
All right. I don't think I'll ever move from Indy, but if I ever did move from Indy, I would move back to my hometown, Ashland, Ohio. Friendliest place on earth.
Mine's pretty easy. It's Japan.
That's mine.
See?
No shit.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
But you've been there, right?
No.
Neither have I.
Oh man.
Let's go.
We should
right
fucking
now.
go.
Road
dude.
trip.
Hell yeah. Dude, I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah, that's where that's exactly. I
Yep.
think that's where I want to live.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be so awesome.
And not Tokyo though. Like
No, I mean,
like Kyoto or someplace.
I would be down for shit, really anywhere,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I'm down for wilderness living, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? All of it. Cause
That's so funny.
like, I don't know, cosplay is big out there. I love cosplay. I've
Mm-hmm.
been doing more of like that kind of creativity than I have music. I guess maybe it's more of a conversation piece than I thought it was, but I didn't think our answer was going to be the same.
yeah.
But yeah, that, and I mean, as a musician, you know, I mean, Japan's where Tama drums come from, and I've played Tama my whole life.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
yeah.
dude, I want to go, and I just want to fucking smell the tone wood, dude. I want to, like, you can go and just visit the shop.
Yep.
And I'm like, I want to fucking take my goddamn socks and shoes off, and I just want to stand barefoot in the sawdust.
Yeah,
and,
that's cool.
And breathe it in, man, for real.
That's so cool. You know what else they have there is they have delicious food and pretty ladies.
Do have good. Well, I have a pretty lady.
It's true.
That hopefully would want to come with me.
Right, we both do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, but you know,
Dude,
I don't
yeah,
know.
hell
If he
yeah.
doesn't want to come, and
Thanks, Bronson. Shout out to my mom.
Yeah, well, she's a giver.
I'm just kidding, Amanda. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I love the
I love
I
Japan,
love
man.
the occasional morning zoo aspects of the show. Do you guys know what morning zoo is?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you don't know? Well, it's before your time. It used to be a radio format, an FM radio format called the Morning Zoo, and it was basically the original
Slapstick.
wacky radio show, right? Where like a chicken would cluck for no reason at all.
I'd say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Just
I'd
like
say that's
wacky
pretty
sound
accurate.
effects, and they'd have like kooky characters and stuff.
Dude, I pulled look at this. I pulled all of these, and all
So-
of them were absolute trash.
So bonus random crazy story. My what's in the box piece of paper, I said it had two things. It had
Oh,
something written
yeah.
on both
Oh, yeah.
sides. So on one side was share a random crazy story, but on the other side it says this.
help.
So I'm like,
remember
wait a
that.
minute.
I
I
remember.
Wait a
think
minute.
that was the very first what's in the
Do I
box
need-
thing, wasn't it?
Do I need to go back and watch some of the old episodes to
There-
find out who wrote this?
Do you want
and
to? Do you want to know why?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Are they okay?
I randomly had somebody show up on the podcast. Just showed up, and I kind of want to say his name, but I don't because then I'm giving the person a platform.
Okay.
But I don't. So
But it's not me.
no,
You can say it after it's over.
But so basically, he was talking. He was not supposed to be there. He just randomly showed up, and while he's sitting there just talking, I just held this.
Oh, okay.
Help!
Okay.
Help!
So you wrote this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
Well, I
thought
know.
that was
Then
from,
we're good. I know that you're fine.
I thought that was from the first what's in the box thing. Was that the night we all got tattoos, maybe? Was that the first what's in the box thing?
Wait, you have a night we got all tattoos, random crazy story, and you told the Jack Sparrow story?
Yeah,
The random
Well-
we all get tattoos is a great random
Yeah,
crazy story.
we
You
all
should,
yeah.
keep
It was
that
a
in the whole-
it was a chopped liver podcast.
you definitely keep
Yeah.
that story in the holster for next time. For
Yeah,
sure,
well,
buddy.
hey.
we all
I'm
got
down for that. That's a
tattoos
good one.
live on Midweek.
That's
Crisis.
a great
right.
story.
Shout out Sam Ayton.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
I still don't have any.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm
You're
still
pure, huh?
I'm still trying to figure out
Next
what
time we do a live tattoo,
I'm still trying to figure out what I want.
we're all gonna get Let's Play 10.
Yeah, I'm
on
either
our-
gonna get
on our
Hell yeah.
4-hour
I'm either gonna get the Kiss logo or no, I'm not. I would never. No, I'm not gonna get the Kiss logo.
or kiss here, like the kiss logo, and then here, and it points down.
Well, I'm afraid if I do, first of all, I'm not.
That's your first.
I'm not a big fan. I mean, I get Kiss and everything. I was into them a long time ago, but I'm not a Kiss fan. But I'm always worried if, even as a joke, if I was to get the Kiss logo as a tattoo,
They'd
would I
sue
have
you.
to send Gene Simmons a check?
Yeah, probably.
oh yeah,
You know,
yeah, maybe
Somehow, some way,
I
Gene
see,
Simmons gets paid.
I see you've gotten a Kiss tattoo on your arm. You're going to have to send us a check. You just make that out to
yeah.
cash.
I have a
Yeah.
feeling this portion of the show is going to be blocked out because we're talking about Kiss without paying them.
Yeah,
Hey,
Get that
there are
copyright.
there are
Fuck 'em.
rules. There are rules.
listen, man,
There
we're
are
living after
podcast
midnight.
rules. Yeah.
Or no, that's not even Kiss. What am I talking about?
I
We're
oh
lit.
yeah. So
Shout out to Judas Priest.
I did have one more, and I thought it was a good one. What was your first job ever? First job.
Oh man, mine's so fucking hillbilly, dude.
Mine's not that great either.
Mine's not either.
Yeah.
Mine's kind of boring. My second job was really fun. My first job. Am I supposed to go first?
Yeah.
So my first job, I was a cashier at a supermarket.
Hell
Pretty
yeah.
standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My second job was carny. I was a carny.
That's
I was
awesome.
an actual
That's
carny.
awesome.
Yeah. It was fun.
I got
Oh,
some
yeah.
carnies some weed one time. I don't know if they
What
counts,
the
but-
fuck, bro?
Yeah.
I
I
did.
got
yeah.
Marnie's weed.
Yeah. Applefest in Bloomfield, bud. Yeah. I had to hook up at that.
I didn't last as a carny because I refused to remove my original teeth. So they let me go.
No.
No, I'm just
I was gonna say, like,
You got to get out of here.
You got too many teeth to be a real carny.
Get that some bitch out of here.
Yeah. Talking about dental plan.
Yeah, gummit.
What about you, Browser? What was your first?
My first job was Pioneer, man. I worked Pioneer, fucking detasseling corn for like 2 days, long enough to get me an X-Fest ticket. 2003.
Nice.
I have
2000 and something, early 2000s.
I have heard that job is absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it sucks.
My wife did.
You
that
have
for
to
a
wear
while.
long sleeves. If you do not wear
Yeah.
long sleeves, it will fucking
It'll mess you up.
shred you.
Yeah, she did it
You
for
get
summer.
soaked because you're out there when before the fucking
Yeah.
do sets. Yeah, it was actually pretty brutal.
Huh.
That's why I did 2
So
days.
now
And I
you
was like,
have-
fuck that.
So something weird's happening because
I bought my
now
ticket,
he
though.
has something in common with me, and he has something in common with my wife.
Mm.
So something is weird.
I'm actually a product of both lifestyles, the country and city lifestyles. So
Or you may just be a figment of my imagination.
I
so
could
you
be.
don't exist.
I was gonna say
He's not real.
Listen, I bought the whole zoo, man. I don't know if you've seen Ricky Stenicki, but I read the Bible. Okay,
I saw
they
the
gave
trailer.
me a book.
I saw the trailer.
It's pretty funny. I don't
you
want
saw?
to give
Did you
shout
actually
out
see
to
the
corporate.
movie?
I did
And
see
it's
it.
funny.
It was pretty funny.
Okay.
It was pretty
All right.
funny.
All right. I'll watch it.
I'll give it. I'll give the. I didn't mean to shout out the man. You know what I mean? Corporate America.
It's
but
becoming
it is pretty
a-
funny.
And now Ricky Stenicki is becoming a meme now, right? Like it's becoming like a thing that you say. Like he's becoming a verb,
I guess
right?
I didn't know. It
Not a
was that,
verb.
but
Sorry. Oh boy, he's becoming an adjective
I,
or an adverb. It's like, oh, I totally Ricky Stenicki that dude. You know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
becoming like a thing, right?
I did not know that actually, but I.
Well, you
I
just
could
made
see
you
it.
just made it happen.
I guess I did.
Yeah,
didn't
you
I?
did. You
Fuck,
started.
I've
it.
always been a trendsetter.
You did.
Oh
He
yeah.
made
Oh,
Ricky
Bob
Stin-
said
the
my
Ricky
first job was
Stenicki
working
meme
thoroughbred
started here.
racehorses. That's fucking awesome. What the fuck are they going on about? We
That is
don't know, man.
That is a good. That is a
We
good
don't
first
know.
job. That is a good first job.
It was kind of brutal, but I got my X-Fest ticket, man, and that was fucking awesome. Actually, my friend Bob there, I believe was at that X-Fest, and I think was that an X-Fest or an Ozfest, Bob? I just appeared and I smoked a blunt with him and a buddy, and then I fucking disappeared. I just like poofed like a
Yeah.
goddamn genie. I just disappeared, was gone. Poof, you're high. I'm out of here.
That's how he does it.
Ozfest, okay. Love you, Bob. I miss you, buddy.
Well, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for making the drive and hanging
Oh,
out.
shit.
It's
Thank
been
you so much,
So
man.
much fun.
Thank you for having me. It's really greatly appreciated. This is really this is a blast. This
Fuck
is a
yeah.
fucking blast. If anyone watching this or listening to this ever has an opportunity to be on this show, be on this show. Do the show. It's totally awesome, and
Hell
it's
yeah.
really a lot of fun.
Hey,
Thanks,
man, at
brother.
least we'll remember this one, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Probably.
I don't know.
But be sure to
Remember what?
Yeah. We don't remember anything about last night.
Well, no, wait. So wait. This you're sure this one's captured, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
100%.
All right.
So be sure to go to
Got that iCloud backup? Do you?
yeah, go to 45.com and check out MP's podcast.
Why am I picking my nose in your little graphic
I
there?
thought it would
You
be
thought it was funny?
so fun to do that. Hell yeah.
Oh,
I just looked
man.
at it. I was like, MP's gonna love this.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. The fucking it's just
I wouldn't say
perfect.
that I love it. I'm saying let's say I'm having a dysfunctional relationship with it. How's that?
I will say you should have put it in the
I don't
side
love
that he's
it.
winking on.
I don't love it, but I am fucking it. Does that work for you?
Hell yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Thanks
just-
for that's
I
it is
just
funny.
saw the I don't know. Like
It's
when I
very
get
chopped
down
liver.
the rabbit hole of creating the artwork. I
Uh-huh.
was like, oh my god, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And he's gonna fucking get a crack out of it.
Yeah. It was. I did laugh out loud.
Hell yeah.
And then I sued you.
Damn it. I haven't gotten the paperwork
Oh, sorry.
yet.
I laughed out loud and then I sued you.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to get the paperwork and to see you again so soon.
Yeah. Finally.
Hell yeah.
It's been a minute.
And hey, so this Sunday we've got Amanda Irene coming out for your weekend wrap up. That's Sundays at high noonish. It says high noon, but it's noonish for sure. And then next Wednesday, it says 87. I think today was 86. I said 87, but
God dang it.
yeah, I always get my numbers fucked up somehow. We've got motherfucking Kung Fu Overdrive in the house. They've got a new album coming out and an album release show as well. So
Sweet
they'll
big
be
shirt
out
to
next
hi-fi.
Wednesday. It's gonna be a fun one. Dude, it's been so much fun.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for coming out and having a fucking blast and getting to hear about your background with podcasting and everything that's led up to this point. So be sure, guys, check out MP's motherfucking podcast. You can find it on Spotify, iTunes, all the motherfucking things. Let's play 10.
Yeah, please check out the podcast. The music. Don't check it out for me. Check it out for the music. The music we play is really, really fucking good. And I guarantee, pick one episode at random, you will find the band that you love. That is my personal guarantee.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
check it out.
Do it.
Do it.
Love you guys.
Love you too.
It's been so much fucking fun.
Me too, man.
Now I have to find the video. Shout out to the Button Guy, our sponsor. Be sure to check him out at etsy.com/shop/The Button Guy Shop.
The Button Guy.
And until Sunday, we'll see you then.
Throw